Hey, welcome to Stunts, everybody. This is a Dollar Views after show where we recap the news on a weekly basis. Today is January 31st, 2016. The first month of the year is finally over, so we got some news to do. Before we do that, I want to point you at our domain. It's still new, dollarviews.net, where you can find all of our content. We're also available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, SoundCloud, YouTube. You name it, we're there. Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I'm Brian Gillis. I'm here with Steve Mominex.
Hello.
So let's start off with some headlines. It's still Sundance is fresh, so we're going to start there for just a little bit and come back to it. Nate Parker's Birth of the Nation sold for $17.5 million.
The biggest sale ever at Sundance.
At Sundance, yeah. And also the biggest sale for a completed film in festival history. Fox Searchlight is the lucky ones to get it. They were approached, Nat Parker rather. The film's about Nat Turner. Was approached by Netflix to sell for $20 million, but Parker wanted a large theatrical release to create a movement around this film. It's about Nate Turner leading the most successful. Nat Turner. It's confusing. Leading the most successful slave rebellion in colonial history. It was a big thing. It kind of echoes what's going on in the country right now. And so that's the reason why Parker wants this theatrical release in the same way, not necessarily because the subject matter is straight out Compton, but that it kind of worked as a zeitgeist. It was something that was important to the people, and that's why it had such a big numbers at the box office. Hopefully this has the same thing. It's supposed to be really good. It won top prize at the Sundance, top honors. Everyone couldn't stop talking about it. Obviously, neither of us have seen it. But I'm sure we're going to be able to watch it in
Come
4 months or so.
Or Oscar season, probably.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. We'll see what happens.
No, I'm pretty sure they got to market it. Like I'd bet on summer, April at the earliest.
I'm thinking like April, May, just because it's a Sundance movie, and who knows what kind of actual Oscar contender. I mean, this could definitely be in the conversation, but you know what? Big theatrical releases from the studios are coming out this time next year. I'm excited. I want to see it though. I mean, we just did Death Cinema for In the Heat of the Night, so it's definitely subject matter.
Too.
Well, it's not unrelated, but I'm saying it is the same conversation.
It's definitely a similar conversation. I mean, this is much more on the surface. It's a different time too. Like
it's more radical.
Yeah, didn't end well for Nat Turner. Especially, unfortunately. Well, but then again, at that time, let me ask you something that's I'm sure is definitely inappropriate, but is it weird that hearing about this spikes my interest in seeing D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation even more?
No. He named that movie
I'm sure, on
Birth
purpose.
of a Nation for a reason.
Just to take away the bad connotation of that title. Though I don't know, this is completely unrelated, but I've thought about it lately too, and I feel like my attention span watching films is improving. That now I'm just kind of like, well, I wonder if I could sit through it in one viewing.
I've seen clips. I've seen probably like 20 minutes of it. I don't know. I mean, it's an epic silent film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's D.W. Griffith. That's all of his films. Look at, like Intolerance. Big, huge productions, set designs, outfits, tons of people on screen. How much can you sit through when people aren't actually having conversations?
I've seen some stuff from like the first hour, which is not overtly racist or anything. It's funny. I mean, the story that I heard that I wish I could remember this beat for beat, but one of my film professors said, when they showed the movie, there was a room full of critics, or maybe it was distributors or something, and they said they only had to show them half of the movie to get the okay by them. And so they were watching and they were like, hey, yeah, that's great. That's awesome, whatever. And then they watched the second half, which is clearly much more racist.
Well, I mean, it is a movie.
It's about the KKK.
Exactly.
Yeah,
about
but I mean,
the KKK.
supposedly
and
the first half is not...
it's kind of a recreation of the Civil War in which the South wins.
It just takes a while to glorify the Confederacy from what I hear, but I still need to see the movie, and I do want to see the actual movie.
Everyone has to see it because D.W. Griffith with that film kind of wrote film language and grammar and basically what it is now. So it did literally write the book for movie making. So it's important. It's just... I'll see it eventually. Well, since we're talking about Oscars, that's the next headline I got here. Next Oscar season might be the beginning of digital screeners. Variety put out this great piece about the piracy this season. Basically, there's this push that's going around, and there's a lot of pushback from the studios. The TV industry, the way that the Emmys work is that their screeners are all digital. And this is a problem because HBO has notoriously had the Game of Thrones first couple of episodes over the last two seasons be online before the season premiered. But for the most part, it's really secure. And so I'm going to post this on Twitter probably on Monday, maybe Tuesday. So everyone should read this. But like they have ways of authenticating and basically like they've done numbers, and almost every single Academy voter has cell phone usage. And because they're kicking all the old geezers out, if you didn't follow Oscar So White, this definitely means that everyone's going to have a cell phone in the coming years, in the next 10 or so. So yeah, there's like authentication, and the reason the Academy is afraid is that they feel like some of their movies might be watched on iPads and iPhones, which is probably going to happen since it's going to be streaming titles.
I think the BFI or people at BAFTA already do that. Like I did see in the Hollywood Actors Roundtable this year, Michael Caine talked about how he was able to watch stuff just on his iPad. So I think
Uh-huh.
in Britain, at least, they're already doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do it in other places, but there's
It's a big
a
deal
this
because the Oscars are
yeah,
doing it. Yeah.
there's a pushback because they don't like I said, they don't want it on the small screen, and the huge, the major studios, they too don't want to have their film, and not just them, but also the producers and the directors. What if you saw The Revenant on your iPad?
I mean, is
Wait,
it
wait,
strictly iPad, or does it have to be an iOS device or some
no,
sort of
well,
tablet, or
it,
can they
it's
do it
just
off a computer?
it's gonna be the internet. Like you're gonna anything that is connected to the web, and I'm sure they might have an app built for them just for them. But I think there was a really great line in the article where there's like an agent that says, "See, the beauty of the DVD is I'm able to tell my client, yeah, we press the DVDs. There's 5,000 out in the hands of the Academy voters right now. Versus when it's streaming, you don't really have any hearsay. You're like, oh yeah, it's out there. I don't know if they're going to stream it. It's available. Whereas with the DVD screener, you literally have a physical thing and you're more inclined to watch it. Like think about it in terms of Netflix or Amazon. When you
Yeah,
put
like
something
when
in your
you're
instant
looking.
queue,
Yeah.
yeah, you just browse and you're like, oh yeah, I might watch that. Yeah, that could be good. That could be good. And then you almost never actually watch something. And so this would be the same kind of thing versus when you go to Redbox, when you buy a DVD, when you actually have that physical disc, it's pretty hard to ignore it. At the very least, you're going to use it as a coaster.
Yeah, I mean that's partly why I still stick with physical media for the most part. I only stream stuff if I'm specifically in the mood to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sure this conversation is going to evolve over the coming year. I mean, they want to get as much money as possible, obviously, and this would be a way to start doing that.
Yeah.
Talking about other big news, the FCC, the chairman, he introduced a proposal on Wednesday to allow consumers to pick the set box rather that they want regardless of the telecom provider. And what it is right now is you're locked into whatever technology your satellite or cable system wants you to have. Obviously, if you're with AT&T, you can get UVerse, you can get this, or you can get a regular one. Same thing with Dish or whatever. Like you have a choice within what they have in the same way that T-Mobile does it. But he basically wants to unlock your DVR. You shouldn't be restricted, he says, to what provider you have just because you want their tech. And so hopefully, if this proposal goes through and it comes to a vote, anyone would be able to get, in the same way that TiVo works with anything, you would have, the Dish Network hopper when you have Charter. And this would make for a more competitive marketplace. It would allow you to have the best technology out there regardless of who owns it, and it would just be better for everyone besides the telecoms, and they're already basically monopolies anyway. So it can only get worse from here. Like AT&T bought DirecTV not too long
Yeah.
ago. I think people forgot about that already. But yeah, I hope this happens because Congress, they said that unlocking or not allowing a consumer to unlock their smartphone is illegal a couple years ago. I think it was like 18 months ago or something like that. And so this would fall in line as a similar thing, especially similar technologies, also telecom, also contracts and things of that nature, same kind of content. So we'll see. I really hope that this is something that happens. Similar territory here. Netflix has come under attack by both the Kenyan and Indonesian governments. The latter going as far as to block the country's largest telecom company, which they just so happen to own also partially as the government, the service. So what they're trying to do is lump the streaming giant under television broadcast censorship bylaws. And so their problem is just that you can have access to nudity and violence and drug usage, especially in Indonesia, which is a mostly Muslim country. They just want to not allow their people to see any of the content.
Well, I without without condoning any of this in any way whatsoever, isn't this what Netflix already is doing with China? Is working out a system around that to
Well, I mean, they
control what
haven't,
they
they're
see?
not in China yet. We're going to get to
But
China
they're
streaming
working
later in the
around that,
show.
right?
I'm sure they're having conversations with the Chinese government, but we talked about when Netflix broadened their horizons 2 weeks ago, I believe it was now, in the Netflix Chill episode 30. I can't remember what country they're doing it, but yeah, they definitely are. I think it was India was the one that I referenced, that they are working on censorship. Like they're gonna have episodes, the censored versions. But yeah, I don't know what Indonesia's problem is. I think it's just that in their minds, you watch Netflix on the TV, you file it under TV laws, and that isn't what it is. It is a streaming service. It's the internet, and
I mean, they
I
and do
mean,
they
yeah,
have
North Korea
stuff
and
that they
China,
like? Thailand has stuff that they ban on the internet that they control what
yeah,
people are seeing.
yeah. I'm pretty sure
I'm not
Muslim
sure what
countries,
Indonesia's politics
like
are on there, but yeah,
Islamic governments, they probably do something
there's
similar.
some more control. Or I don't know
Yeah,
how tightly controlled it is though.
I don't know either,
Yeah,
but
I
the
would be the
fact
wrong
that
person to ask.
they're using their government-controlled telecom company to literally bypass government jurisdiction
Hmm.
is really sketchy. It's Netflix. They got so many subscribers. They make so much money that one huge country, I believe their population right now is like 220 million people. Even that isn't really going to affect them. But we'll see. No one likes censorship, especially when it's forced like this. But it's not the worst thing in the world. Um,
We don't have to deal with it though. But
that is true.
I guess we'll see though how the company deals with it.
Yeah. Uh, Company dealing with things. Kanye West, he had a great tirade earlier this week. That's not what I'm going to be talking about right here, though. He retitled his most recent album, Waves. That's kind of cool in its own. What's even better is that he's going to be debuting it as like a live listening party at a sold out Madison Square Garden fashion event later. It's going to be Yeezy Season 3. If you haven't been following, his previous two seasons were available via live stream in theaters, and this one will be too. So you're going to be able to see his new fashion line in addition to hear the whole album first before everyone else in a theater around you. I'm excited. The release date, as I mentioned last week, is February 11th, so there's only 10 days left. That's exciting. I like how he's kind of creating his own method of.
Because he hasn't been doing that like all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I did wear a pink dress shirt today, so thank Jesus. But he's literally found a way to get into the fashion industry when no one would have him. And now he's found a new way by that own avenue to basically stream his album and have you pay for it. I just think the ingenuity behind that's pretty
Yeah, no,
cool.
no. I mean, regardless of your opinions of Kanye West, I do agree. You have to at least admire him that much for doing
Right?
that. Yeah.
Or here's a new hope for Hollywood. Hamilton, the hit Broadway show, is coming to the Pantages starting August 2017, and the Book of Mormon will be doing another roundabout here at the same time.
Yay.
So yay! It's like our fake Broadway is getting shows too. I'm not gonna lie, I really want to see Hamilton when it comes here. Book of Mormon was awesome when I saw it.
Yeah, no, I love that play. Like,
Yeah,
so good.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone still need to make a film version of that. I'm guessing by the time 2017 rolls around, they're going to be in production.
If they don't, I
So
at least want to see like some sort of home
they
video
better
release where
start
they
it, dude.
film the play and they put it
Just,
out
like
there. Like I
they
at least
themselves
I at
film it.
least want that because since I've seen that and like that, like for me, those tickets are not cheap, and I got
Yeah.
orchestra seats. Like when I saw
Nice.
that was my graduation present.
Did you see? Oh, so you went to New York
No, no, no. I saw it at the
at the
Orange
Pantages?
County Performing Arts.
Oh, so it wasn't the actual company?
Not the Orange County I think it's Segerstrom Hall or I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's a really nice theater. Orchestra seats, like it right in the center. Like it was pricey, dude, but it was a graduation gift. So like
What was it?
I was fucking lucky.
Orlando.
Yeah, no, this is in Costa Mesa that I saw. But yeah, just goddamn, I like that was one thing where it's so good, and I wish like because my friends fucking love South Park and Team America, and like that's that one thing where I'm just like, man, I really want to show you this, and I wish I had like a copy of it. Like they You know,
But you
there's
can hear all
plays
the
that they
songs on
film.
YouTube.
Yeah, and there's the songs, but you know that there's plays that they film, right? And
Yeah.
like you can get them on DVD and Blu-ray. Like I wish there was one of those for this because it's just
No,
it's
it's
that
too big. It's still a moneymaker.
it's that I know, but like
They're
I
making a
really wish
movie.
I could show it to more people, but I
They
can't because it's a
announced
play.
they announced a long time ago during its initial run that they're going to make a movie. I mean, they obviously have a good partnership with not just Paramount but Viacom through Comedy Central and the films they've already made. You know, most notably Team America and the South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. So it's not a question of if, it's when. And I would have to imagine when their duties on South Park kind of slow down is when that's going to
Well,
happen.
I'm sure that like I can imagine a bunch of like gags, especially in the African village and like the dorm room that all the guys share. Like I can see that translating well in the film, but also like in my mind, it's just so ingrained as a play, and I like seeing it as such because it works so well as a traditional theatrical musical.
We'll see what happens. The future's bright for
Yeah,
them.
but hey, Pantages, yeah, I've never been there, so good for you,
So,
I guess. It's closer to your vicinity.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Pantages is cool too because you can go next door to the Frolic Room where you get really cheap beer. Uh, Cheap shows, Cartoon Network. They're bringing the DC Super Team Justice League to TV again. Show's gonna be called Justice League Action. It's gonna be 11-minute episodes, just like Teen Titans Go. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are going to be reprising the roles as Batman and the Joker, respectively. I'm very, very excited about this, especially if the art style is similar to Teen Titans Go and it has a similar kind of humor. I grew up on their voices. If you haven't seen that original animated series, it's on Amazon Prime. You deserve to see how good Batman can be when it's done by people that care about the character. A couple more things here before we get into the regular film news. February 21st, remember that date. Why? ABC is going to be airing The Wonderful World of Disney at Disneyland at 60. And they're going to be bringing Han Solo himself for a sneak peek at the Magic Kingdom Star Wars lands. So this is going to be really cool. Hopefully they actually show something important besides the mock drawings that they've already done, the concept art. Because at both Disney World and Disneyland, they have stuff under construction with, under tarp so you can't see it. So this is, coming soon, probably really, really soon
hmm
if they got Harrison Ford to sign on.
yeah,
And we got a sneak peek. I know I sent you this link to the Slash Film article. I hope you read it. I'm
yeah.
talking about it right now. Pierce Greta wrote this really, really great piece about this new tech called Holo-Cinema. It's being shown off by ILM's X Lab. It was at the Sundance's New Frontier showcase. It's hard to explain. It's an augmented reality immersive Star Wars experience that top talent filmmakers are going to be working on, not just to create stories with, but also for exhibition purposes. And there's the possibility of this tech appearing not just at Star Wars Land, but maybe even at the consumer level. It's all hush hush. No one knows much. But like, there's ideas here that Ryan Johnson, Colin Trevorrow are going to be using this. Gareth Edwards even used it to see what monsters would look like before doing it in CG. Because the idea here, and like I said, you should just read this article itself, is that instead of you having someone on set and miming next to a fake robot and then having to go into post-production, put the robot there, then look at it, oh, it doesn't work, we got to go back, we got to do some reshoots. This allows you to, on the fly, render as you go what the actual monster or whatever is going to
hmm
look like next to the actor on the set, on the viewfinder, and control it all right there, as well as also make content exclusively for it. And like I said, this isn't something that you can really understand. Imagine, like, if you've
Well, this is
read,
perfect for mocap, especially. I feel.
yeah,
Yeah, like
especially for mocap.
that's where it would be at its best because you would get the movements that have like human
Uh-huh.
constrictions.
And see it right then. Because
Yeah,
this is kind of what they did on Avatar. But the tech itself is kind of. Have you read The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury?
no.
Okay, well, it's a collection of short stories. The first one is like, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the first or the second story in the collection. And it's about lions, like in the tundra, okay? And the story is just like the Star Trek holodeck. Like, that's what it's like. And that's what this tech is like. It's you're wherever you stand, it is what you see. It moves around you. It's almost 360. Obviously, Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Disney worked with Google for the Jakku Spy VR content in the Star Wars app. And so that's just like the first step of what Disney is working with here. Like I said, I'm gonna post a link to this on Twitter, yeah, on YouTube. You can see it right there as an annotation. Definitely got to see these videos. Very, very cool. And since we're talking about that, we got to talk about the one thing about Star Wars that happened this week. Colin Trevorrow, bum bum bum. He said that Episode 9 is going to be shot on film, and his reason
Big
is
shock.
because it's a period piece. It was set a long time ago, and it doesn't make sense to tell a story on a medium that didn't exist yet.
Well,
It
also,
makes
also, come on. I mean, we know the practical reason is, hey, we want visual
yeah,
consistency between these
sure.
movies. I mean,
Well, besides the first,
yeah, it
well, the
makes
second
sense.
episodes 2 and 3,
I mean,
but
it's
yeah,
it's funny.
the other five.
Yeah, I mean, also he shot Jurassic World on film, and well, I'm happy to hear that. I would have been cool with it if it was shot digitally either way, but I like that Star Wars will have the visual consistency. Unless
It's
he's not shooting anamorphic, then I'll have a problem there.
his explanation's funny though.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Can't he just say, "Well, JJ and Ryan are shooting on film, so I figured I'd do the same thing."
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But whatever floats his boat,
Hey,
like
it's I just like I love I love hearing that people are still shooting film. I mean, I really I want to shoot film one day if I get in that position. I would love that, honestly.
we're doing the movies now. Fox, they're adapting another murder mystery. It's called A Simple Favor. It's about a blogging mom, her dead best friend, and her now widowed husband. It's a third of what's being called a domestic noir film after Fox's Gone Girl a couple years ago and the upcoming The Girl on a Train. I said another because Fox is obviously, not obviously, but they're also doing the Murder on the Orient Express that Kenneth Branagh is
Hmm.
directing. So is this like the rise of the murder mystery? Is it a thing now? I really hope so. This is three pretty big movies. Well, this one less so. This novel's not getting published yet. It's also HarperCollins who's releasing it, which is owned by News Corp. So Fox and News Corp, they're same company. So they're gonna be publishing this like right when it's probably the first trailer comes out or something like that. But I really hope that the murder mystery is a thing now. That not noir necessarily because that's a hard push at the box office, but yeah, just the murder. Like I hope that Johnny Depp makes that Thin Man reboot that was like rumored years and years ago, or someone else. I mean, TV kind of has it going in a couple of places, and it never really died with like weird shows like Monk. But on the big screen, it has been a while. Besides, these three films that it's really been out there.
Well, I think it's an attempt probably to bring that back to the surface, but we'll
Hmm.
see financially how that pays off. And if they all
I
do
mean,
well,
Gone Girl
then
did really well, so.
yeah, but I would not classify that as a murder mystery. I don't even think in the marketing it was
Well, I
necessarily.
said it's being called domestic noir because they're all stories involve women who as primary characters that go missing.
Hmm. Hey, well, at the moment that we get a remake of In the Heat of the Night, then maybe I'll agree with you.
Next episode of
It's
no,
one
no,
of
2 episodes from now.
I don't know if it's I don't know when it's gonna come. We have a bunch like on the back burner, but I don't know if you want to put that up before Valentine's Day or after. We'll see.
Whatever. In the heat
Yeah,
of the night, it's a Death Cinema
it will
episode. You can hear
come
it soon.
if you look forward to it. It will come.
Is that like a Field of
Yeah,
Dreams
it
almost?
is. We got the John Kinsella seal of approval on this podcast, so
Sure.
yeah, of course I'm making that reference.
Yeah, you should just go pick those names up real quick. Kathryn Bigelow, she was in the news this week. Really exciting. She's reteaming with Mark Boal. This is the third collaboration after Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker. Film's going to be an account of Detroit's 1967 riots. Anna Perner is producing. It's shooting this summer, and they're looking to capitalize on the 50th anniversary of the event next summer as a release. Nothing is known about it. Obviously, you can go out there on Wikipedia and read about the riots themselves. But this is really cool. I mean, we've been talking about Kathryn Bigelow a little bit lately, especially because we did Strange Days
Hmm.
not too long ago, 31 days ago, actually. So, yeah, it's obviously real time sensitive with the material here. I'm guessing it's race related because it is Detroit. And even if it's not, even still, it'll be a good reason to see it because she's directing it.
It'll have something to
Hashtag
do with it, I'm sure, especially for the
hashtag
time.
52 films by women. Hashtag women in film.
You're really, really proud of that list, aren't you?
I am proud of
You're
that
just
list.
gonna try to get as many as you can in there, can't you?
I've currently seen more films by women this year than most people probably have, and it's not intentional. I'm very proud of that accomplishment.
Well, yeah, there hasn't been 7 weeks in the year already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Even if you don't count two of them, it's still on par for how many weeks there's been.
Aside from that, I like The Hurt Locker. I wasn't that hot on Zero Dark 30, but she hasn't been making that many movies lately. I mean, by the time this comes out, it will have been 4.5 years since Zero Dark 30.
I mean, probably the reason here is that she,
It's
after,
tough to get her stuff financed through the studio system.
I'm sure that's part of it, but I think more of it is now that she's had attention from the Academy, she doesn't want to make anything that they won't give attention to. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard once you've been invited to the big dance to start doing small gigs again.
Yeah,
And that goes for most people. Like, if you make, like $300 million grosser, you're not gonna make an indie unless you're
yeah.
Jon Favreau and Chef is awesome for that reason. Or like, yeah, it's very rare for a filmmaker to do that.
Like
For
even
every
Michael Bay doing
like
Pain and
Kevin Smith,
Gain and 13 Hours. Like, yeah,
yeah, well,
even then that
it's
was
pretty
difficult for
similar,
him.
but Pain and Gain more so. Like 13 Hours still got a
Well,
pretty
yeah,
big
but
release.
it's still the budget of that movie is not even anywhere near what Michael Bay's pay grade was for the Transformers films.
Talking about big name directors, Martin Scorsese, he's not in the director's chair, but he's teamed with the director of Amy, Asif Kapadia, to bring the story of the Rolls Royce to the big screen. It's called Silver Cloud, and it was the final film that Richard Attenborough was working on at the time of his passing. It's supposed to have like multiple storylines intertwining, having underlying themes of the American ideal, and like working side by side with someone that you don't like. A lot of stuff. Hopefully, it's good. If that wasn't enough, they also announced this week that the same director, who's best known for obviously doing Amy and also Senna, is going to be directing a documentary about Diego Maradona, being called Just Maradona. So a very busy guy. I mean, Amy's getting Oscar attention.
Hmm.
I haven't seen any of his films, but I've heard Senna's really good. So the fact that this is his first narrative film, I think in like 20 years or something like that, that Scorsese's tapping him on the shoulder, that's pretty big ups. Hopefully it's a good movie. It sounds interesting. I mean, it is a biopic, but car biopics are usually a little bit more interesting. I really liked Rush. What was that, 2 years ago now? Yeah.
Two and
Did you
yeah,
see
like
that?
Ron Howard's Rush.
Yeah, Ron Howard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, no, that was one of my favorite movies of that year.
really great stuff.
Yeah,
More directors here for a little bit. Joseph Kosinski, best known for Tron Legacy and what
Oblivion.
was the name of Tom Cruise movie? Oblivion.
Oblivion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one really saw it, but it's actually pretty okay. His next flick is Firefighter True Story No Exit. It's going to follow an Arizona's crew, which lost 19 members when stopping a wildfire from burning down a town. Sure, I guess it's another action movie for him.
Well, after 13 hours being such a big flop, I don't know if people really want this.
I
Not or
don't.
not 13 hours. Sorry, Finest Hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what? How's that related to him? I don't know.
Actually, they're all pretty similar in terms of what they're about, but
I was under the impression though that his next movie was Disney's The Black Hole. That's what he announced when he was still in post on Tron Legacy. So I guess that's one of those Guillermo del Toro things. You're like, oh yeah, I'm working on that.
I'm
He just throw it away and hope everyone forgets.
well, Del Toro's got like 50 things going on at the same time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was really hoping for Tron 3 to happen. I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want it to, but
I mean, they went so far as to even make that TV show starring Elijah Wood
hmm
on Disney Channel. So they had hopes. They did the rebranding. They were doing the Tron Club stuff at California Adventure.
yeah, no,
They're
they
trying to make it
marketed
work.
the hell out of
Yeah,
that movie.
it made a good amount of money. It's just
Not
for I don't
what
know.
was expected.
Yeah, well, I guess I still really liked it.
Oh yeah, no, same here. I mean, but it definitely the opening was very
What
weak
what did they
compared to.
think? It's a Tron sequel. Tron wasn't the most successful movie of all time. I'm sorry, putting Tron in Kingdom Hearts 2 isn't going to automatically make you have a good audience. Plus, it's Jared Hudlin. That's not his name. I got
Garrett
his name.
Hudlin, yeah.
Yeah, it's Garrett Hedlund.
Yeah, no,
So he doesn't have the most star power. What
no.
do
I
you
mean, they
expect?
do take risks like that, like even taking unknowns and.
Tomorrowland.
I mean, I did feel, yeah, and even John Cotter, but I did feel like Tron Legacy at
Yeah.
least had potential, like marketing wise, to reach an audience.
Yeah, I mean they got Daft Punk and it's
Oh yeah,
gorgeous.
I
It's a
mean,
very pretty movie, especially in IMAX 3D.
I mean, those trailers are amazing, but yeah, then at the same time, I'm not sure if they would communicate much, or if they did rather communicate much to a mainstream audience. But they got to
It
me.
it wasn't a standard popcorn flick. I mean, it even had an ambiguous ending. So, I mean, that's not
No,
really something you do with a big budget
it
movie.
didn't have an ambiguous ending at all. No, there
Are you
was
are you joking?
Tron Legacy. Yeah, there was closure there.
It ends with Olivia Wilde on the back of the
A motorcycle
motorcycle
seeing the
and the
sunrise for
music.
the first time, and
Yeah,
it's a new
and then that's
beginning.
it.
Yeah,
I well,
it's a new beginning. It's closure, but
sure.
there's a promising beginning for things to come.
They took a computer program out of the digital world and brought it into the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Whatever. Maybe that's why that didn't work. That's a little kind of weird
Well,
for
no,
a
no,
Disney
that's
movie.
got nothing to do with why people didn't show up, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why that didn't happen. Um, well, no, I got three more directors here. Meg Ryan, who you don't think of as a director, but she is now. She's gonna be making her first movie, hopefully with a release anyway, about the publishing world. It's a rom-com called The Book. It's being written by Delia Ephron. That name sounds familiar. Maybe it's because it's Nora Ephron's sister.
Mm-hmm.
They previously collaborated on Ithaca, which was filmed in 2014 and hasn't got a release yet. And, and obviously, more notably, You've Got Mail, which Delia Ephron co-wrote, and Steve's gonna be seen in about a week's time from now. Um, I guess I'm kind of excited about this. It's a rom-com. It's Meg Ryan. It's an Efron. I'm waiting for a cast. The fact that her most recent film didn't get put out by anyone maybe means she doesn't have directing chops. But even still, she was America's sweetheart at one point, so I'm optimistic.
I think this news piece was just something for you that you
It
wanted to
definitely
talk
was for
about
me.
because I got nothing to say here. But yeah, I mean, hey, anyone that steps on the anyone that steps up in the director's chair, you've heard me say it a million times. I hope they do well.
Another one here, Marjan Strapi, who I mentioned not too long ago because of The Voice, and obviously also known for her great memoir, graphic memoir anyway, Persepolis. Her new film's got a good cast: Uma Thurman, Alexandra Daddario, Gemma Atherton,
Gemma,
and Gemma,
yeah,
and
you're really bad with
Farhad
names, man. My
Abdi.
God.
I am bad with names, thank you. Farhad Abdi, the pirate from Captain
Yeah,
Phillip.
yeah.
They're all set to star in this movie. It's called The Extraordinary Journey of the Fokker. I'm not pronouncing that wrong. It's Fakr. It's a adaptation of a best-selling novel. The continuation of the story is who got trapped in an IKEA wardrobe. It is about a con man's journey from India to the Parisian IKEA. And in the director's own words, it's a story about love, magic, and adventure, and it takes place across three continents. I think this is more up her alley than The Voices. My review for that was that it was a little too dark while trying to balance being campy and fun at the same time, which felt very schizophrenic, and that really matched the subject material, but not the content, but not the tone anyway. But yeah, like as I said, she definitely has a comic storytelling sensibility, and just the story alone seems like that. And also, it's good news that Uma Thurman is going to be co-starring in something again. It's been a while since she's been the main one on the screen.
I can't really think of the last time I saw her in.
Like, Be Cool. She was in that Ceremony movie with Michael Angrano, and I think it was 2010.
Hmm,
But yeah, no, I can't think of anything
yeah, she's
big.
been off the radar for a while.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
maybe.
I would have said Kill Bill probably. Or My Super Ex Girlfriend.
Yeah,
I didn't see that, but I remember the trailers for that.
I did see that. They're making a TV show off of that. Or if they already don't have it,
Yay,
yeah,
I
it was
guess.
a low moment in cinema history.
Yay, people get to have jobs working on that. That's, yeah.
More directors here. Liam Neeson, he's reteaming with his good buddy Joam Colette Serra.
Mm-hmm.
Serra?
Yom Colette
Serra?
Sarah.
I got it right. Okay, I had a second guess myself. Their next film's called The Commuter. They've obviously worked on Run All Night, Nonstop, and Unknown. This one's about a businessman getting caught in a criminal conspiracy on his daily commute home. Kind of sounds like Falling Down to me a little bit. I hope that's what it is. That would be amazing. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. No,
Such a good
it's really
movie.
good, yeah.
I think the first time I saw that I was like 8, and I was just flipping out like he got an RPG. Like he's for how weird that movie is. Michael Douglas is a badass in it,
No,
and so I hope that this is an unofficial remake.
no, I'm looking forward to. I mean, especially I like Run All Night, and I don't remember Unknown that well, but I know I enjoyed it.
Nonstop's good though,
Nonstop is
so
so good. Like,
really good. Like
I mean,
Nonstop and Red Eye would be a great double
I
feature.
mean, yeah, and honestly, like, Yumklitzer are like very underrated. Like, I'm so glad that no one has like at Marvel or anything has tapped him onto direct stuff. I mean, it's just cool to see that he's doing stuff that's not franchise based and that is actually able to pull in movie stars, even if it seems like he's working with Liam Neeson all the time. I mean, yeah, the guy also did Orphan, which I don't know if you saw that. Really
Didn't
good,
see that. I know it's supposed to be scary.
really good. Well, I don't know if I'd say that, but really good horror slash thriller. Like, yeah, way better than like the average stuff that's put out there.
Hmm. It's funny, you kind of brain melded with me. I am talking about someone now that got picked up by the big machine. Um, First, I'll give you a hint who I'm speaking of. The What We Do in the Shadows follow up might
Hmm.
have a sequel. I mean, might have a title, and it's going to be We're Wolves.
Yeah, just basically about the werewolves.
Yeah, it was originally going to be What We Do in the Moonlight. That was the original rumor title. But We're Wolves is just the cutest name. I really hope that's what Taika Waititi calls it. And speaking of him, he had a film at Sundance, Hunt for the Wilder People. Supposed to be a really good coming of age movie. It's getting a traditional domestic release by The Orchard. It's purchased for about $2 million. And there's a lot of hype about this, and probably mostly because it's his final film before joining the MCU.
Oh, so
As
it's a
we know,
fantasy film, right? I
yeah.
mean, I think
Well, not
now,
really.
well, I mean, just based on that title alone, now I think I understand how he got picked up for Thor, rather than just based on what we do in the
It's
shadows.
no, it's about like a kid, and I believe it's his grandpa, and they like live in the woods or something. But it's not a fantasy. Like I think it's just more about like being in tune with nature. I don't know exactly. I try not to read the plot synopses for films I want to see, even though I read them to you guys. But yeah, this it got bought for about $2 million. And a lot of hype behind it, and but yeah, he's doing Thor Ragnarok soon, so
Hmm.
this is gonna be his last taste of I guess I'd say moonlighting. Speaking of which, What We Do in the Shadows is on HBO Go right now. You got to check it out. It should have been on either of our. I'll just say it was our movie that didn't make our best of list.
I
Very
maybe
underrated,
yours. Like
very
I had a
fun.
great time watching it, but I don't know. I feel like for me it's like one of those comedies. Like it's kind of like when you watch Borat or Bruno. You got to see them with the biggest crowd possible. Otherwise, after that, it's just kind of like it won't play at home that well anymore.
I mean, I saw this at home though, and I was still having a really good time.
I don't I, well, that's just me, I guess.
Maybe it's just you. I really liked it though.
Yeah, no, definitely
Reason I,
really funny.
reason I bring up MCU here, Disney CEO Bob Iger, he doesn't agree with what Steven Spielberg and Zack Snyder have said in the recent past, in that audiences are getting bored of the superhero and it's a fading genre. He plans to make Marvel movies forever. Shouldn't come as a surprise. They paid like $4 billion for Marvel, I believe it was. No, that was Lucasfilm. I think it was like one point something rather. If you get these properties, you're making a ton of money. You're gonna
Hmm.
make the movies until the well is literally
Yeah,
dried
yeah. I
up,
mean,
and then you reboot them all.
he's a CEO. He's coming at it from a different perspective, so like it's not surprising
But
that he
even
would say that.
still, I mean, we know? I think everyone knows, right? That eventually there's gonna be a new Thor, a new Iron Man, a new Spider-Man, a new
Hmm.
that, a new everything. It's gonna be like 10 years from now, but Robert Downey Jr. is gonna fly the coop in the near future. I have to imagine after Infinity War, that's probably when everyone leaves anyway. That's why there's gonna be by that time it's gonna be like Phase 5, and they already started moving new people into Avengers this past summer. So it shouldn't be a surprise. It's not gonna be the biggest thing. It's probably just everyone gets a trilogy and then they're gone.
No,
But we'll see.
yeah. I mean,
We
well,
don't know.
it'll definitely it's a fad. It'll definitely end. I just don't know. I mean, the same thing was said about Star Wars movies too. Like that's
It's there haven't been that many. I mean, every year for the foreseeable future, we're gonna have one.
yeah.
But there haven't been that many Star Wars movies so
I
far.
just I don't think anything else is gonna like episode 7 is gonna I think stand at the top for a while. I don't think anything is gonna
think
go
I don't know,
close to it. Although then again, I'm still surprised Jurassic World made as much money as it did.
right?
Yeah,
Jurassic World only made a smidge less than Episode
like that's
7.
in the top 5 of all time.
Yeah,
Of all time. Yeah, I'm still
and
surprised.
well, a couple months before that, guess what? Furious 7's also like in the top 10 of all time. So
No, that's not domestic, but worldwide, right?
internationally,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he crossed a billion on the global scale.
Yeah,
So
and I mean,
people forget
surprising
about
though,
that.
like Star Wars is not doing as big as expected in China, so that's interesting.
Minions made a billion globally. Okay, so like we had so many episodes over the summer. Like, look at Universal, look at them. And then as soon as Star Wars came out, I was like, well,
But I mean,
that
still,
that
like
was cute
that's
when it lasted.
Disney is like Disney's a giant. Like I feel like comparing Universal Studios to what other studios are doing, that's fair. Like it's still fucking impressive what they pulled off.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, and without a traditional franchise tentpole like a superhero film, very impressive. Talking about franchise though, Jared Hess is set to direct Nicktoons for Viacom. It's they're I messed that up. I need to stop messing up tonight. Jared Hess, talking about franchises, Jared Hess is set to direct Nicktoons. It's going to be an amalgamation of the Nickelodeon Nicktoon properties from the early 90s. It's going to have their hit characters Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Hey Arnold, All Real Monsters, Rocko's Modern Life in a shared screen. Already comparisons are being made to Roger Rabbit. It seems like it's just going to be a nostalgia cash grab a la Pixels or Goosebumps. Hopefully it's good. I like Jared Hess. Napoleon Dynamite was a hit, and he
Yeah.
hasn't really had one since then. Even though Gentlemen Broncos was really weird and could be a cult classic in the near future. Um, but yeah, like maybe this movie's good. I don't know. They already announced that they're rebooting these shows on Nickelodeon anyway, so
Well, hey,
I don't
that's
know.
fine. I think it's not surprising that because I mean this happened for us, right? Like even though Looney Tunes were always an established thing, we got Space
We
Jam,
got
like
Space
we got
Jam
yeah, and we got
back in action.
yeah. I mean, well, I was a little bit too old for that, but I mean, there was stuff like even the Disney stuff. There were old classic Disney cartoons, and then there's suddenly a short like The Prince and the Pauper or something, So
Well, I
I'm
mean, this is a little bit different
yeah.
though. Like having like Space Jams were already, I mean, not Space Jam, Looney Tunes were already a group of characters. This is taking all of these separate shows that had no ties to one another and putting them together. Like I said, like Roger Rabbit. So
Well,
I
hey,
guess it
we got
could work
Cartoon All
if they.
Stars to the rescue. So even though
I don't
that
even.
turned out to be pretty horrible,
I don't even know what that is.
you don't know what that is?
No.
Okay, it's basically it's Looney Tunes and Alf and I
And
think
Alf.
Garfield and Sonic and like a whole like basically every Ninja Turtles are in there, all for a half-hour special that is basically a PSA for drugs.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah, no,
That's why I
it
didn't
is,
see it.
but you can find it on YouTube. It's pretty
Horrible.
it's hilariously bad, I think, right now. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But if they have a good script for this movie, if they somehow find a way to make uh, the shared property thing work, it could be good. I mean, it kind of worked for Goosebumps, so I I
All
hope it's good.
it really with any creative team that's good, like, the best you can hope is that they put the best into it. Jared Hess, I don't know, I loved Napoleon Dynamite when I saw it.
Yeah,
Like I saw
which
that
is over a decade
I
old
saw
now.
that back in theaters like in middle school and I freaking loved it. I still have the watch that
That
they
was
gave out for
04.
free in the theaters. Yeah, I know. But I mean, yeah, I had a great time seeing that in limited when it came out, but I had not seen
Nacho
Gentlemen
Libre.
Broncos or Nacho Libre. So, and it seems like with the trailers of those, it seems like it's pretty
Yeah,
clear what his style and sense of humor is. So,
kind of matches
I don't,
Nickelodeon to
yeah,
be
I
honest.
don't know. Nickelodeon now, maybe I'm not sure. I don't know.
Period. Like it always had that kind of weird sense of humor.
Yeah,
Like
but I don't know. Napoleon
Rocco's
Dynamite's just so
Modern
different from.
I understand like Rocco's Modern Life is about a dingo that wears Hawaiian shirts and hates his boss who's a frog.
Well, also, I did not grow up with that. Like, I grew up with early aughts Nickelodeon. I grew up with SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents and some Hey Arnold and
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
this isn't
like
that.
I was fairly
Uh-uh.
late in that crowd.
A little bit,
So
yes.
yeah, I think Cat Dog's in there though. I've seen that. So
I love Cat Dog. That
yeah.
show's fun. That theme song is really good.
Hmm.
Cat Dog, boom, boom, Cat Dog. Um, uh, another thing we got here. We just talked about a nostalgia cash grab movie. Now we got a legacy film, Blade Runner. That sequel is finally coming into fruition. The one starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford starts filming this July. It's being distributed internationally by Sony. Alcon has a deal with Warner Brothers for domestic release. This could be good if Dennis Villeneuve.
I don't know. I don't have his name in front of me.
You don't know how to say it either,
No,
right?
well, I don't.
The director of Sicario and
Prisoners, yeah,
Prisoners. There you go. And Enemy.
yeah. Uh, I don't know why this is news. I mean, I just always assumed that this was coming within the next couple years, but
Well, I mean, they got a date now.
I
Like
guess
it
now
was
it's
weird.
official. Yeah.
They announced the international strategy with Sony. I think it was on Tuesday, and then they announced the start date Wednesday. You would think they would do that the other way around. It was disjointed news reporting.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I think, well, my problem here is that I'm not the biggest Blade Runner fan. I still have to see the theatrical release. But there's like that
Said
question
no
that
one ever until now.
I want to see it. Like I
You're the
like
first
noir,
person ever
and I
to
want to
hear say
see how
that.
bad the voiceover is. I
It's
do.
yeah. It.
I want to see what Harrison Ford just phoning it in. Literally, it sounds like.
I
Uh,
don't know why he saved my life. I guess in those last few moments, he finally had an appreciation of what life really is.
did you know that most of the Nexus or Nexi, I guess you would say, were incepted in 2016? We're in the future of Blade Runner now. Like Roy Batty, he was activated. I
Hmm.
think it was like January 8th.
No, I think he was. He said he was 4 years old. Oh wait, yeah, no, that movie's
Yeah,
2019. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, yeah,
I wanted to say
yeah, yeah. Like
2017 for a
it was a
second.
it was a thing on Twitter. Like everyone was posting the screenshot of where it said the date that
Roy
Roy
Batty's been.
Batty
Hey,
was
honestly,
activated. Yeah,
we
he's around us right now.
we live in a future where 2001 didn't happen, and I can still love that movie. So I'm not surprised. By the time that we get to iRobot 2032, like I don't know. I'm sure like it just won't be like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Audi R8 isn't gonna be on the road at that point. But yeah, like I really hope what they don't do here, as like I said, this is a legacy film, and you did point me at that piece that that singer wrote for what website was that? It wasn't the AV Club. Um,
Screen Crush.
was it? Yeah, I believe it was Screen Crush, where he did an analysis because we've talked about this before how Terminator Genesis is kind of like The Force Awakens, but in his piece he also points out, well, that's also how Kingdom of the Crystal
Yeah, I
Skull
know.
is.
I saw
And
that on Letterboxd, but I don't know if he wrote a piece
yeah,
on it. Yeah.
I read his original piece that he's referring to in his
Okay.
Letterboxd review. But yeah, also he makes the point that like Part 3 is kind of like that too, and a couple other films. And so this is another one. You're bringing back an old cast member, Tron Legacy even, hence Legacy
Hmm.
film.
Yeah.
And you're bringing back this old actor to help out a new one in the same franchise. I just really hope that, I mean, they can't do it now, I guess, because Harrison Ford aged. But if they tried to bring closure to that whole like argument that people have of Harrison Ford being a replicant or not, because that could happen in the movie, and
I
that would make a shitty
I
movie.
think I'm with Ridley Scott in that that's the least interesting thing to talk about on
Yeah, I
that.
don't care
Yeah.
about that. I care about everything. I just care about Roy Batty being on screen. Like that's some of the best screen presence ever. Like
Yeah.
what Howard does there with the character and the tears in the
No,
rain
it's
dialogue at the end. Like,
I think it's an interesting question to pose on a philosophical level because that just gets down to the whole thing of what does it mean to be human, but I don't want a literal answer to that.
and that's gonna happen because it's a
I
sequel.
feel like that's what people, it's like people always keep saying that now when they're anticipating something like, oh, so many unanswered questions but it's like one of those things where you think you want it, but then when you get it, it's just kind of like, oh, like it's not gonna satisfy you necessarily knowing that, I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I,
We're
I
gonna find
I'm
out though.
cooler with leaving things ambiguous. I mean, getting the answers to everything will just leave you unfulfilled.
or again, more fulfillment from the adaptation machine. Ghost in the Shell, which was originally at Disney, has moved to Paramount. It's still coming March 31st, 2017, with Scarlett Johansson attached. If you don't know, this is the adaptation of very popular manga, which became an anime, which became a movie, which became a comic
Yeah,
book, which became a video game,
sorry to
which became
stop
a
you for a
this.
second. Wasn't it at Sony?
No, no, it was at
I
Disney.
thought
Yeah,
okay. I don't know why I'm thinking that then.
yeah. I don't know. It's Japanese.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wanted to tell you.
I swear I'd read
Sony did,
something on it,
however,
but
have the
yeah.
next item on the docket that Paramount has also picked out. Uh, Little House on the Prairie. It was at Sony in 2012, then entered turnaround late last year, and now Paramount has attached Sean Durkin, the director of Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. That's hard to say fast.
Martha Marcy May
Um,
Marlene.
Fuck you to direct. And so yeah, Paramount, they don't have the biggest calendar every year, so they're hoping that maybe they can get some money by adapting a family drama from the early 80s. Sure, whatever helps you. I can't. I don't know. They still got Mission Impossible, I guess,
Yeah,
and those Nickelodeon
and
movies,
Star Trek,
guys, and Star Trek, which I do want. I think Star Trek Beyond
and
looks pretty
GI
badass.
Joe, and Transformers, and yeah.
Yeah, but that second GI Joe wasn't that good though.
No,
So
I didn't see the finished version, so yeah.
yeah, yeah, you didn't miss any.
I believe it though, yeah.
The best part of the first movie is Channing Tatum. What happens in a sequel when you kill off the main character in the first 5 minutes? Hey, let's find out. Go watch it. I didn't ruin anything. You would ruin your experience if you thought he was going to live through it.
No, it's in the
Um,
trailer. I mean, yeah, that was right around like 21 Jump Street was I think the thing that made him yeah,
Huge.
well, not necessarily huge, but that definitely made him less of the joke and now people look at him and they're like, "Yeah, right on, Channing Tatum. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a good
Uh,
egg." And then all of a sudden GI Joe, yeah, just bad timing for them.
Magic Mike was around that time too.
Yeah, that too.
Um, Final quote unquote standard news I got here before we get into Sundance stuff. Blumhouse. I said Bloom. It's Plum. Yeah,
Blumhouse,
I
yeah.
corrected myself. Yeah. Blumhouse is boarded Alive and Kicking. It's a documentary. I'm really excited about this, about the world of swing dancing, and it's going to follow a couple subjects who decide to shake up their lives and start dancing after uh, joining the world, I guess you could say. So it's like they jump on the dance floor, and then the rest of their world, the rest of their lives, they try to change it. I don't know. I just know that it's about swing dancing, and that's a dying form, and I would really like to see it on the screen. You ever swing dance or swung dance? I guess I should
I
say
don't dance in general. No.
at all.
No.
So you've definitely never swung.
No.
You should try to do that. I wonder what the right term. Are you supposed to say swinged? Do you
Like,
just
do you
do you,
swing? Something like that?
yeah, like do you swing,
Just
Daddy-O?
like go someone up to someone and be like, "Hey, do you swing, darling?"
Well,
Something
I'm
like
pretty
that. I
sure
don't
if
know.
you're at a swing dancing club, you don't have to like specify what kind of dancing you're gonna do. But yeah, yeah, maybe fun dancing, really fun, up tempo. You're definitely gonna sweat doing it. No sweat here though. Sundance. Moving on to the big thing. Blumhouse. They picked up the big one from Sundance Next Fest. It's a sci-fi street magic thriller called Slate, or I mean Slight rather, as in sleight of hand. Blumhouse alone isn't doing it. It's Blumhouse Tilt, if you remember correctly. That's their branch dedicated to limited theaters and marketing to specific demographics and focusing on social media more than TV and print. And they're entering this release with WWE film. So if that isn't weird enough, they're going to be using the wrestling programs to raise awareness for this movie. Is being compared favorably to Chronicle in that it's gritty and kind of realistic, while at the same time having a more supernatural element to it. I don't know if it's found footage, but because of that description, I would think it might be. But yeah, I like magic movies. Hopefully, this is good. It's got a lot of praise. Um, I'm excited. We'll see what happens because it's Blumhouse and WWE. That kind of lowers expectations, but in the long run, that might be a good thing because then you'll be surprised by how good it is
Yeah,
if it is in fact good.
Blumhouse is pretty good at surprising people. I swear there's something good
Whiplash.
by WWE though that
Yeah,
I
I think
can't
they have
think.
one movie,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a joke.
No, but I mean Blumhouse like they have more hits than misses though, especially in the
Oh,
horror. I mean
definitely.
they've definitely shifted like just had a major just had a major influence on modern horror today. Doing it
Yeah, found
cheaply,
footage.
focusing not just found footage. I mean, but doing it cheaply and focusing more on what you don't see as opposed to just making it more flashy.
Other stuff happening, more docs. Werner Herzog, his doc, Love and Behold, this is like what? Like his 12th documentary now. It's landed at Magnolia. It's being called the best film about the internet ever made. It's a Herzog movie, so that alone makes it interesting. I do want to see this. Did you see his PSA that he did through Sprint for the don't text and drive thing?
No, but I know about it now, and it already sounds amazing.
I can't remember the subtitle. You can see it on YouTube. It's called like Consequences of Technology or something like that. Really, really, really downtrodden. You watch like 10 minutes, and you're like, wow, I should really definitely not like text and drive
You
anymore.
think?
You think, right? I'm not saying me, I'm just saying like in general. I really, they should have pushed that really hard. It's a little too long. Like I said, I saw like 10 minutes of it. It's about 35. Um, I think it's like 3 or 4 personal experiences of people's loved ones dying because of texting and driving. But yeah, I'm excited about this. He obviously has a voice that matters when he's not playing a villain in Jack Reacher and such. And Parks and Rec for that matter. Yeah, he had a cameo in the final season episodes. But yeah, I definitely want to see this one. It's Magnolia, so that means it's gonna hit Netflix eventually. Hopefully it's good.
I'm there with you.
I really hope so. A couple more docs here. Amazon, they've got the theatrical and video on demand / streaming rights to Gleason. It's a doc about the ex-Saints defensive end who was diagnosed with ALS at 34. And since then, he's gone on to do numerous things, such as skydiving, interviewing Pearl Jam, being present at one of Obama's State of the Union addresses. It has footage from over 4 years in which the subject recorded just anything because he didn't think he was going to live long enough to meet his son. Directed by the guy that did Finders Keepers, which was a big hit at Sundance last year. And they're Amazon's teaming with Open Road for its theatrical release. So who knows when this is going to come to Prime because, once again, Chirac's still not there. So the last time I can say this on
And
air because it's
Macbeth.
going to be, I
Yeah.
believe it's tomorrow is when, or Tuesday, the February 2nd is when it's hitting Amazon
Are you
Prime.
gonna
I hope
watch it
so.
over the week?
Yes,
Nice.
I've been waiting like over a month to see this movie. Like you know how mad I'm gonna be if it sucks. I'm pretty sure it's good, but I'm just saying. Like I watched the Sweet Blood of
I
Jesus in
think,
preparation and the Old Boy
yeah,
remake.
regardless of what you think of it, I at least you can't deny it's an interesting thing to watch.
We'll
Like,
find
it's
out. I'll
definitely
find out.
a unique beast.
I mean, you'll hear everything I got to say about it, if not on Twitter, definitely on Dollar Reviews in the coming week or two. Um, Amazon made a couple more deals because they can't buy enough things here. They purchased another doc. It's called JT Leroy. It's oh no, it's about JT Leroy. It's a doc called Author. It's produced by Brett Ratner, and it chronicles the hot '90s author and the reveal that she was actually just a persona of an actual writer the whole time. So from the way I read it, it kind of has like a Milli Vanilli thing to it, or more so the what is it? The Five Easy, not Five Easy Pieces. What was that memoir that came out and the guy went on Oprah and he revealed that he lied about it? You know
Uh,
what I'm talking about?
are you talking about Lance Armstrong or
What? No.
I can't, yeah.
No, there's this guy that wrote a memoir about him being like a heroin junkie.
Oh
I can't remember the
shit.
name of it right now. And yeah, so he went. It was supposed to
That
be a
was
true
a
story. Went
long
on.
time ago. Yeah.
It was like 5 years
I
ago.
don't know.
And
Did
and
Lance
so yeah, he
Armstrong
went on
admit it
Oprah
on
and he
Oprah though
revealed.
that he was
I don't think
I
so.
don't
It
know.
just it came out in doping tests. That's a completely different thing. But yeah, this doc sounds
No, he did an
interesting.
Oprah interview though, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a Rat Pack production. I think it's just Brett Ratner. But it definitely sounds something really interesting, and it could push Amazon's, angle, like what they're doing. Because Netflix for a long time has done original docs, and so now they got two in the coming, I'm guessing, months coming out that got a lot of love at Sundance. So we'll see. But if that wasn't enough, they also have another feature. It's Wiener Dog. It's an ensemble comedy from the director of Welcome to the Dollhouse. It stars Greta Gerwig, Danny DeVito, Kieran Culkin, Ellen Burstyn. It got hit or miss response, but it's on Amazon, so we'll
Yeah.
find out for ourselves when they primed it.
Have you
Um,
seen Welcome to the Dollhouse?
no,
Oh. You
I just know
should.
the title.
You should check it out.
Well, maybe when Wiener Dog comes out, I'll see the both of them. Double feature time.
Yeah, I don't know how. This is the second time Todd Solondz has done a follow up. The one that he did to Happiness, I can't remember what it was called, but even that I heard was meh.
Yeah, I've never seen any of his
Oh
works.
man.
I know the name. I know like some of the titles of his films. It's
Well,
just
welcome to the Dollhouse and Happiness. Yeah, you should definitely check those out.
I'll try. I mean, after I saw Gummo, I was like, oh yeah, I'll go see the rest of Harmony Korine's
Yeah,
movie, and
all I've
I
seen is Spring Breakers. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
I've seen
like it.
Spring
Yeah.
Breakers and Gummo. Well, I saw Kids should count too because he wrote that in '95. Which if you haven't seen that, you should definitely check it out. Like the most accurate portrayal of teen life in a city, very gritty, without being scary, but just like a lot's that no, everyone's unknown in it. It's Rosario Dawson's first movie. Um, like it wasn't. I mean, He Got Game is what launched her career, but that's where she literally was got her start.
Yeah, no, I know I need to get to kids.
You should see that
Yeah.
one. Very pretty. The last thing about Amazon here, it's not actually them. That's a lie because I'll be talking to them like in 10 minutes here. But A24 has made a silent but deadly deal for the fartastic Sundance flick Swiss Army Man. If you listened to our episode last week, it's about Daniel Radcliffe's corpse being used as a flotation device because he farts so Paul Dano can get off an island. It stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead. A whole bunch of people walked out of the screenings. I guess that didn't matter because it won Best Director at the festival. So I definitely want to see this one if it wasn't apparent in the way I articulated that in this writing here. Yeah, it's hit or miss supposedly, but it sounds like it's gonna be awesome.
Yay.
Yay, Paul
What do you want me to
Dano.
say? Of course I'll see it based on that
Right?
alone. Yeah.
It's about a farting corpse. Like, why would you
Well,
walk
not
out of
only
that
that, it's
movie?
a movie about a farting corpse, and people like it.
And it's Harry Potter, and it's Harry
Yeah.
Potter being the farting corpse. That's a new Patronus. Um, Two more movies here about from Sundance. Nick Jonas starring fraternity hazing flick Goat was picked up by MTV Films. It's supposed to be a dramatic account of what it's like to go through Hell Week at a fraternity. Um, it's kind of interesting because he was just on Scream Queens where he played an openly gay character in fraternity as well. So maybe this is his new thing, just staying in college. I don't know. It might be interesting. It's MTV Films. That means it's Paramount. Who knows what kind of release it's gonna get? I would assume it would get like a mid-release, like I don't know, like 2,000 screens, or not 2,000, like 1,500.
It's still
Um,
fairly wide.
we'll, we'll see
Like
though.
it's
I don't know.
accessible
It
around
might if
nationwide.
well, I mean it's Nick Jonas. I think it's R-rated. But just him having somewhat star power still from Jonas Brothers. We'll see what happens here. Uh, Want to see it though because it's hazing. It's not something that really happens. I mean, for every Neighbors or Spring Breakers, I guess you get one of these every blue moon.
Hmm.
Last one we got here though, purchase. When the big boys actually bought something here, it's not just A24 and streaming. Universal has purchased Frank and Lola. It's what Deadline calls a Las Vegas psychosexual noir love story. It stars Michael Shannon, Imogen Poots, and Justin Long. From what I read about it, it kind of sounds like Leaving Las Vegas, something along that nature, which isn't a bad descriptor. So we'll see. I mean, it's a Universal movie. I don't know if they're going to put it on their regular banner. It could be a focus feature,
Hmm.
but we'll find out whenever they start announcing dates. A final thing I got here from Sundance, really cool. Sundance's New Frontier exhibit, which is celebrates 10th year this year. They had real virtual reality, not virtual reality, but real virtually. That's hard to say. It's a
Real
change up
virtually.
virtual. Yes, thank you. It's a new tech that's being demonstrated. It's poised to be the sort of technology available in virtual reality arcades. It's cooperative immersion. It has spatial tracking, object tracking, low latency interaction. I got a YouTube video that I'll link on YouTube here. Um, Really interesting. Like you use two Oculus Rift headsets, but like you have swords that you like a torch that you can pass to one another. And the room is so big, it's not like HTC Vive. It's like twice that. And so it's like in VR, you're walking through a catacomb or a maze, and on in the ground you're doing the same thing. You have like duck under stuff, and there's like physical objects there in your way. And so yeah, this isn't meant for being in your home like the all the head mounted displays that are coming out in the coming months are. This is much so more something like not Disneyland because we talked about the Holo-Cinema, but yeah, it could be there or Universal Studios or maybe like the circus or something like that. Like the Orange County Fair, something where you can track a lot of people and do it. Because this thing, the queue at Sundance, it was at one point like, what was it? It was something ridiculous, like 18 hours of wait
Hmm.
or something.
I'll
There was
bet, yeah.
yeah, there was pictures of how long the wait was, like ridiculous. But yeah, that's like the best segue I got for moving into tech here. It's my favorite thing to talk about on the show, even though this is technically a movie podcast. So to stream off of that, we got some VR things. Apple announced that they have over 1 billion active users on devices in the last 90 days. Those devices made $18.4 billion in profits this last quarter, which is the highest ever for a public company. That's just profit. I think their actual money was like 74 billion, something ridiculous. You don't want to know, just make you feel worse about yourself. But the most surprising thing in that news was that they predict that iPhone sales are going to start flattening out. This is something that I talked about last week on Netflix. That would be really interesting. Like, think about it. They've been selling these iPhones for a decade now,
Hmm.
roughly, and it's just been incremental increase, increase, increase. Got to get the new thing, the best thing. And now it's at a point where like anyone that wants an iPhone basically has it. Over 1 billion active users on devices. Obviously, that's counting also like iPod Touch and Nano and iPads and MacBooks and anything else they make. Uh, but yeah, like what could happen? They predict that this quarter next year is going to be lower and lower and lower. It's just gonna hopefully it goes higher. But Wall Street Journal thinks that they might be they're no longer going to be an investment. It's going to be like a safe bet for stocks. But like I said, VR. Google is obviously in the game. We're going to talk about them in a second here. But their CEO, he said that VR isn't a niche, and that kind of led people to speculate what's happening. Well, the report broke on Friday that they have over 100 people working on both AR and VR in Cupertino. So clearly, they're not worried, but they know that everyone around them, Microsoft, as I just said a second ago, Google, HEC, PlayStation through Sony, everyone, this is a new thing to do. People are already making VR device head mounts for iPhone cases. They have to do it eventually. I'm guessing it's going to be called iVR or like iViewer. Who knows? They have such weird. It could be Apple VR since they changed their name with Apple Watch and stylus. So we'll see. But I think this is just something that everyone knew, and it's gone past speculation now. Um, so maybe this September, when they do their next event, we'll have to see it because this is the year of virtual reality. If
Yeah.
they don't have something soon, they're going to be too late to the party.
No, it's really moving fast. Like I wonder if something else is going to come up later this year to try to top it. Like
Maybe. I
at,
mean,
at least like there will be a I wonder like there will be a period where VR is normalized like among the masses, but
yeah.
I just wonder how it's funny. I wonder how fast it's going to be, if that's going to live that long, or if someone else is going to take over it. Like everything ends in holograms. Honestly,
Well, I mean,
that's my
it's not
feeling on
just
it.
holograms. That's what the Holo-Cinema is that we're talking about at the top of the show.
Yeah,
Like, that's pushed past a hologram because a hologram is that you're just in your normalized realm and you have basically you can't differentiate this object in the middle from everything else. Whereas
but I
a
mean, as
hollow
far as like
cinema,
taking over everything, like
yeah,
yeah,
but I'm just saying the hollow cinema is getting full immersion in whatever you're watching, which makes more sense for something like media in terms of a movie. A hologram makes sense for a Skype call, like that would be
hmm,
perfect, or a phone call in general, I guess you could say. But for media, for staying with art, I think that's more of a gimmick. I mean, look at the concerts where they have members like Tupac or Busy Bone or Easy E showing up on stage like that. That still happens, but like that's not really art. Um, but yeah, I mean, Apple's always late to the party, and that's kind of what their cult is okay with because their idea is that they get the best thing because they're the last there, which is an argument, I guess. So yeah, I don't like I said, I think when September rolls around and they do their annual event, that they're gonna announce they have something. They're probably not gonna show it till the next March, which is when they do their iPad event. So I don't know. But Google, what we do know, they announced this week on Wednesday that they have shipped over 5 million cardboard units. That's a lot. And so because of that, or also in tandem with that, they're ramping up their VR approach. They're stealing employees from both Vine and Jaunt VR. And it's possible that they have a box bigger than just cardboard coming soon. They might have a full-fledged head-mounted display. And you got to take this with a grain of salt because they also have their collaboration with the Mysterious Magic Leap technology. They pumped something like 500 million into over a year ago.
Shit.
So people predict that that is going to be their way to interface the technology instead of Oculus has some wands, Sony has them, everyone has like these touch controls. But so far, Magic Leap, what's been rumored is that it's actual gestures, no controllers like IR, and who knows how else it works. But your hands are your hands, not some kind of controller. Um, so everything's happening quick, and I feel good talking about this because we haven't talked about VR in quite some while. Or I guess I haven't talked about it anyway. Last VR thing I got here until and then we'll talk about something a little more interesting. Oculus showed off their Story Studio painting application Quill at Sundance. Basically, what this is, it's also one of those things, and that's how all this tech works, is that you got to see it to believe it. But basically, it's 3D painting. You can paint all around you in any direction. And this technology, Quill, is used, as I said, for Story Studio, which is where they make their narrative films, which is mostly CG. So it's the same technology, same application, and it's going to be, I'm assuming, available for all the users. If they were smart, they'd make it a pack-in application, or at least one that's available at launch, because that would really help launch. If you have people making content from your stuff right away, then that's going to encourage people to buy it so they can make content as well. But I guess we'll find out, as soon as late March. It's only a month from now. That's scary. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this earlier in the show, but I didn't know a spot to find it. There's two interesting ticket sales things that happened this week. The first of which is Fandango, which, surprise to me, is owned by Comcast, which means NBC Universal owns Fandango. I did not know that.
I didn't know that till now either.
Right?
That's interesting.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You never knew that.
So they profit off basically every ticket sales in some way.
Yes.
That's
so even if
yeah.
you don't see a Universal movie, their parent company gets money from it. But yeah, Comcast, aka Fandango, has bought MGO, which you probably also have never heard of. It's a digital video marketplace that you can access on the web, on your computer, on applications, whatever. This is a company that was started by DreamWorks Animation and Technicolor. And the reason they bought MGO, which I checked out, they have like some pretty cool movies. Their recommendations are pretty good. They have a lot of recent stuff and old stuff too. But the reason they bought this digital marketplace is that they're planning to introduce what they call super tickets. And so this is going to be something like what they call movie catch-up, which allows you to have rentals of all the previous franchise installments when you buy, let's say, Marvel in Disney's Infinity War.
Was that
Part
kind of
1.
like
here,
what they've already done? Like, I think with The Hobbit, they did that where you can get like a super ticket where you get a digital copy of the first film beforehand before you see the second or stuff like that.
sure. Yeah, this is
Like,
the same
yeah,
concept.
just renting it?
But yeah, I believe this is a rental. I don't know if it would be a buy because that would probably be really expensive.
Yeah, no, like those are like normal ticket prices plus $20 added on top of that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think this is. So instead of having to go to the theater and doing the marathon for the Marvel to catch up on the franchise, you can do this from comfort of your own house and then go to the theater and see the movie. But they also have R&D apparently working on AR and VR products. My take on this is that it's possible that this could be NBC Universal's streaming venue in the theater. Think about it. If Comcast owns Fandango, they own Universal. HBO is Warner Brothers, so that's where they already put their movies. Those movies aren't on Netflix. Netflix has its own movies. Like, everyone has their own place. Amazon makes their own movies. And we've talked about this before. If an app is going to exist basically for every network, don't you think an app's going to exist for every studio? So this could eventually be where their content goes. I think that this is a possibility instead of, being on HBO for the foreseeable future. Let's see,
Yeah,
it's still early days. This
yeah.
just was announced a couple of days ago. Um, but yeah, I'd check out MGO. It's not a bad website if you don't have an iOS device or you don't want to use Google Movies or Redbox or Netflix and you just want to do a la carte streaming. It seemed like they have a pretty good library. Um, the other one, this is more interesting. I was talking about this right before we started the show. Disney, Fox, and Lionsgate have teamed up to invest. Well, they didn't team up, but together they've invested $50 million in Series A funding for Santa Monica startup, or ticketing startup, Atom Tickets. This app's angle is that they're empowering social media users to mass purchase tickets. So you'll be able to poll preferences and suggest times that are good for everyone instead of a single person doing all the groundwork. This might even allow people in at theaters to offer discounted prices for screenings for having multiple seats filled at once, maybe even discounts on concessions. Who knows? I don't know if this is going to work. I mean, I guess that it makes sense in theory because if you've ever gone to the theater with a group of people, oh, one person has to buy all the tickets, and then you're limited to X number. I think it's 10 is usually the limit for a theater. Um,
No, you can
so
get more than that, I think.
I think in one transaction though, it's usually 10, at least in Fandango anyway.
Well, yeah, online, yeah, but
Yeah, online. Oh yeah, I've sold like 20
yeah.
before in one sitting. But so yeah, if this works, I mean, obviously they got 50 million already from three major studios. I mean, Universal's not going to do it because they own Fandango. Uh, but yeah, like so if you got this money from two majors and a mid major, then it might have some potential. But we'll see. I don't know. Like I in my brain, I think Fandango and Moviefone are so synonymous with ticket sales that it'd be really hard to get Atom tickets out there.
Yeah.
But then again, when you see trailers now and they say in theaters January 3rd and they have, the hashtag, I could see a Disney movie going, go to atomtickets.com/Disney.
Yeah, no, like for sure. I mean, AMC
If
is like
you're
the
putting
mainly the
money,
one
you're
that
gonna
does that, like throws the quick ad at the end of
yeah.
where to, yeah.
Exactly. So I can see that could happen. I'm skeptical. It's still this is initial funding, so this probably wouldn't be hitting market until I don't know, and probably it would be on Apple first. Like that's just say April, something like there. Like probably if they were smart, they'd do it before summers when they put out their beta or
Hmm.
something. It's probably already out there actually. Who knows? I just read this right before we did the show. But yeah, so who knows what ticketing is going to do in the future? Like there, I didn't read anything about Adam trying to do a super ticket or anything like that. So maybe that's just Fandango angle right now. Um, but yeah, like it is a thing. Gary Perbola, when I took him at Cal State Long Beach, he predicted that in the future. I mean, this when I took him, this was like 2011, so the future was now. That when you go to a theater and you buy a movie, your ticket right when you leave the theater, you'd be able to buy a digital copy. Or he said a DVD, but I'm gonna
But yeah, no,
extend his
no, you
reasoning.
get what he means, yeah.
Yeah, like I think so. Like think about it.
He's
You
not
leave the
far off,
theater,
yeah.
you go, I really like that, I want to buy it, and right at the box office, you can buy it right there and have it available. You can get, DVD or just have it. I think that that's where we were going to be going soon.
Yeah, I
Because
just don't know how to feel about that, but I mean,
I
it's not
don't,
far off though, yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I've said this before. Because of the advent of VR, who knows how long it's going to take for it to be widely accepted. But with the tech that's there, with my Google Cardboard, it is a pretty good theater going experience with this thing stuck on your face that I can't imagine theaters the way they exist currently lasting for more than another 5 to 10 years.
I, I have no idea, honestly. I mean, but it's weird because I feel like people are gonna like as much as they would embrace new technology, they will also like go against it because like even you see on Facebook and Twitter like all this stuff of like how people want to be more social all the time, and so like they'll be willing to turn that stuff off for a while just so that they can get out there and do something with people in reality. So I don't know. I feel like there's going to be that hunger for both. Honestly, I don't know if it'll kill it.
Well, yeah, I don't
100%.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't say kill. I just think it's gonna change the way it is now. Like instead of having a multiplex with 30 screens, it's gonna be a six theater, and that's gonna
And they're
be the
all
indie darlings or
I don't
the
think
big
it's
blockbusters.
just that. I think it'll be a six theater. I think ticket prices will probably be way more expensive, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
it'll be assigned seating, and
I
it'll be
think every
treated.
theater has to be assigned
I
seating
think
now.
it'll be premium pricing, like, which really is a bummer. I think.
We'll see. I mean, I
Like, no,
w-
I've seen that. Like,
there's
even
too
there's
many.
theaters that I've gone to where like they've quote converted their screens to make them more premium,
And still
and
shit.
it's still, yeah, and like they were big screens to begin with, but yeah, they inflated the price.
It's just a way for them
It's just
to
a way to
justify
profit.
the
Yeah,
price
it's like
increase.
nothing has changed. It's just okay. It's
Yeah,
assigned seating now, and it sucks honestly. I mean, yeah. So I think I'm gonna probably miss the way theaters traditionally are. But I mean, I love the way that
but
Draft
think about
House
it.
runs
Like,
it though.
look at it this way: in terms of active shooter events and things of that nature, the easiest way not to get shot when going to the movies is staying at home. And so, I mean, Regal took some steps, checking bags from here on, like going out. But I mean, there hasn't been one for a while, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But like eventually people are just gonna want to stay at home. They're just gonna want to do VOD. And when you have this new
People have
wave
been
of tech
doing
coming
that
out,
for years. Like this goes way
yeah,
back to when TV came around, or when even back when VHS was big. There were video rental stores. Like this is
well,
it's
I'm
been going
talking
there the whole
about,
time.
you
It's
know,
steering that way. It's always been going that way.
I mean, even having a 100-inch TV at home, it doesn't
Hmm.
mirror the movie going experience. Like a big screen in the dark is a big screen in the
Yeah, but
dark.
we
And
keep getting
even,
close though.
yeah, even a projector though, like even a 4K TV, like it's nice, but it's no cigar. Whereas having the VR headset on your face, sitting that, not sitting, but having it literally that close, and it's not even just that, but you can have simulated digital theater environments with the screen on the wall. Like you, for all intents and purposes, without the sticky seat and the kids kicking your chair behind you, you can trick yourself into thinking that you are at the theater. And like,
I have a feeling like we're smarter than that, and once we get used to it, then we'll be much more self-aware of what the issues are with that. And I'm sure, I honestly, I think first off, weight of the headset. I'm sure that's one thing. Even if it's
sort
not that
of.
heavy, I'm sure that that will be something that after a while will factor into
I
it.
mean,
That you will
having
just that you will be used to it, and you will notice the difference between being in an actual theater and being in a fake one.
Yeah, but how many times when you go to the theater when you get a bad DLP, or I mean DCP, or the
Uh huh.
theater or the screen's bad or the projector's out of focus, or like I said, kids are kicking you or they're screaming or they're yelling, the seats suck, it's sold out and you couldn't find a seat, the sound is bad. Like how many bad experiences have you had at the theater recently? And you kind of just think for a moment, like, I'm fed up with this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I probably have like, as far as quality wise, on a technical level, I probably have like five a year,
Uh,
and then as far as
okay.
people, maybe 10 or 15. But
That's a lot. You're looking at 20
okay, yeah,
times a
yeah,
year,
the
bro.
15 seems like a lot actually, because I think I see in theaters, I think I see maybe 60 movies in a theater a
No,
year.
that sounds about right, though. I mean, think about how many of those are tent poles. I mean, how many of those are a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie or something like that? And those are the prime times that you're going to get a kid, especially if it's a Pixar or DreamWorks animation movie.
Oh yeah,
Anything
I
Disney.
have not had obnoxious kids like, or I don't know. Last time I think it bothered me was Avengers, where I had kids that
Yeah,
wouldn't shut up. Like
yeah.
Good
That's when I
Dinosaur,
had
I
the
had kids
kids,
in there that, but those were kids being kids. Like those were kids that were engaged with the movie in some way.
and but they were just seeing
So
a
that
kid
yeah, that
movie.
didn't bother me.
I mean, my last two bad theater experiences were Star Wars and Avengers.
Yeah,
So
I didn't have a
it
bad one for
is a
Star
Disney
Wars. I
problem.
still need to see Star Wars again.
Yeah,
Like I,
I don't know
but
now.
yeah,
I mean, I
it's
might just wait until Netflix
I
has
just
this.
I don't know. It sounds like right now like that's the thing that you could guess would be like the end all of the theater experience. But I feel like once we'll be impressed by it, and then we'll notice that something's different, or we might notice that something's better. But I honestly do believe you can't take away the communal experience.
I mean, they're working on
And
that
I
though.
mean, even if we have so many
I
distractions,
mean,
I
no,
think
no,
we got like
no, they're working on the communal experiences. what's crazy.
What,
Let me
in a
spell it out for you.
digital
Facebook
space?
owns, yeah, Facebook owns Oculus. Okay.
That's not, I don't think that's real communal, but
No. I'm just saying Facebook owns
hmm.
Oculus. They've already shown these digital theater experiences where you can see all the seats around you, can pick your seat, all that stuff. They've also announced through Netflix and also Facebook kind of too that they're working on technology where in the theater the seats around you can be populated by your Facebook friends, and then you can communally watch a movie together, and also talk to each other or have like a text chat or whatever, while watching the movie, and also be able to interact with each other and see each other's avatars. Obviously you're not seeing them, but it's close enough to an experience while not together via satellite that it will appease you at least in a way that you can't do when, like, if you were in Austin and I'm here and I want to see a movie with you, I'm not going to fly down there to see
Yeah.
Star Wars. And so this technology is there. We're just waiting on the applications to get there. Like, if I have a Google Cardboard and you have Google Cardboard, we can technically do it. It's just that functionality hasn't yet been implemented at a wide level. Like, this is still in R&D. This is still early days, but it is going to be there
I still, I
soon,
still
like
feel like
within the
as
year.
cool as that is, I think you can't substitute though people being in a real location. I mean,
No, yeah,
if
of
this is
course
going to
not.
be like the sole thing, then people are going to be apathetic in front of each other in a fake way. I don't know. I'm both like excited and hesitant at the same time when it comes to these things.
I am both too, but I lean more towards excited. I'm also excited about this. USC is going to publish student video games in the future on both Xbox and PlayStation. This comes after having students of theirs already have had games published on the PlayStation Network, such as standouts Flow and The Unfinished Swan. Um, this is really cool. Imagine going to school. Like, the equivalent of this is you making a movie in film
Hmm.
school and then putting it, like, on Netflix, basically. Like, how cool would that be? That people can you can make like your thesis and have people play it and buy, like, pay money to play it. The real question is how that's going to work out. Like, who gets the money? Does USC get it, or do the students? Maybe they have some kind of cut. I'm sure it's in the contracts. But still, really cool the fact that they're giving their video game students a platform like that on viable networks already.
I mean, that's awesome, but then at the same time, that just makes it even more difficult to get people to see it. Like
No, not
yeah, no, no.
really. I
I
mean,
mean, you have the content that's
I'm
out there, but there's
sure.
going to be more and more stuff in the digital landscape
Well,
that
I don't know. I'm sure
you
that they
still got
would
to do
have.
self promotion. Yeah,
I'm sure both Microsoft and Sony would implement a section on their digital stores to highlight the games made by students.
yeah.
Because not only does that make USC look good, but this announcement also makes both video game companies look good because that they're gonna have these games available on their networks. So people really like indie games. They like supporting indie developers, and that this is even a step below indie. This is like true grassroots, like like students still learning.
Hmm.
That's something that people would really get behind, I hope. A couple of things here until we get into streaming news. Sorry, tech took up so much. If you're not into this stuff, you probably turned it off by now. That's okay. No shame. Spotify's joined the video streaming game. Both their iOS and Android apps this past week have added video functionality. It's limited. I'm sure it's going to expand over time. And what's funny is Amazon has announced, or it's speculated anyway, that they're working on a music subscription service to complement their Prime Music and compete with Spotify. So you got people on both sides of the spectrum trying to get on the other side that the other one already has. Um, who knows how this even ends? Like, why does Spotify even need video in the first place? Like, I read the press release. It's because they know how many people use their content that they don't want them to leave to open up a video app to already use something else. And the idea is, like, if you're already there, you can do it all at once anyway. But then again, people are calling Amazon's foray into streaming music a quote unquote Spotify killer. Like, do they really think anything can kill
Uh,
Spotify? Like, Apple tried. How's that working
I mean,
for
yeah,
them?
Spotify's free. Like for fuck's sake,
Well,
like pretty.
not on mobile.
No, but I mean, you turn on your laptop or your desktop and you just want music on in the background. That's what you use.
I don't. I use my music collection, but I'd still be more inclined to use YouTube,
Yeah, well,
which also is a streaming option. So is Google
Spotify
Play
is
Music,
something
same thing.
that's used though on that level too. So I mean, that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
why it's like
definitely.
it's
I
ridiculous
mean,
to
so is
insist
Pandora.
that's a killer.
Well, I mean, that's just the thing that people use.
Yeah.
Anytime someone tries to tackle the kingpin, like if Apple announced that they were making a digital marketplace to buy products that shipped to your home, it would undoubtedly be called an Amazon killer.
Hey, they
So
tried
it's
making
good
their
that
own TV, and look at how that worked out.
well, they didn't make their own TV. They made their own set-top box, and it does work out really well. You'd be surprised how many of those they sell. Like really
Hmm.
surprised. Anything with Apple name on it sells well. Even their 24 karat gold designer Hermes watch. Trust me, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Um,
I'm not surprised whatsoever.
we try to shit on them. You should like. I'm of the new Apple TVs. I wouldn't be surprised if they've already sold 50,000 units, and those sell for $100 a piece. So that's 500,000 cash, and profit is
No,
probably
but
like
I mean, like they were
50% of
literally
that.
trying to make a TV, and that didn't work out.
They
That's what I
probably
was
still are.
saying. Yeah.
No, they probably still are.
Well,
I
we
mean,
shall
they're
see.
working on having, they're working on autonomous cars. They're working on basically anything they can
Yeah.
get their hands on. You know how much just capital they have a year, just profit? It's ridiculous. Like the fact that they don't make new technologies all the time is a shame. Like if they did what Google does, like if they just went for it, if they had some kind of X lab with a weird R&D skunkworks department, like they just tried things instead of waiting years and years and years to try to make a perfect product and then update it the next year anyway. It'd be really exciting. They could be a true pioneer in American industry, but instead they're just clinging to this luxury item branding that they have, and they're surprised that their consumers are starting to drop off next fiscal year. Anyway, Amazon. A couple more things here. They're having their first Super Bowl commercials. It's cool. It's gonna be starring Alec Baldwin and the Amazon Echo. I'm guessing they're gonna have some pithy banter back and forth, kind of like something like Woody Allen would do. Speaking of which, his Amazon Prime show, it's gonna be starring himself, Elaine May, and Miley Cyrus. Shooting begins in March.
That's weird.
Miley Cyrus is in a Woody Allen product now. That's really, really bizarre.
Yeah.
Especially because she hasn't acted in anything in a while. Well, I guess she was in the night
Yeah.
before, but she's playing
Yeah.
herself. It's not
That's
quite the
basically a
same.
cameo.
Yeah.
But I mean, also Woody Allen is acting in something again.
He did that. He was in
He hasn't been on screen in forever. I don't think.
no, he was in his Italian
Aside from
movie
the
though with
Gigolo one,
Love
yeah.
from Rome. No, yeah,
Oh,
well, he was in that, but he was in From Rome with Love, his Italian movie with Jesse Eisenberg that came out 2013, I believe,
well, I did not see
2012.
that one because I heard it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was missable. Alec Baldwin was in that though, and so was like Emma Stone and a couple other people. I tried to watch Irrational Man. That was bad. Really bad. Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone starring in a Woody Allen movie. It's what you picture it is.
Well, Emma Stone's been in
Um,
like three of them though, hasn't she? Like,
yeah, and she's not bad. Like that's a good combo. Jesse Eisenberg's actually pretty. Like he gets Woody Allen. Like he kind of is Woody
yeah,
Allen without the genius part. I mean, he's not Owen Wilson and fucking Paris,
yeah.
but still pretty good. More streaming stuff here. We cross ship from tech to streaming. Hulu has brokered a deal to become the exclusive streaming home for IFC docs. Now they're the official hipster home with both Criterion and Seinfeld rights. Um, I think it's cool that they've figured out what they're good at and they're sticking to it.
That's fair.
Obviously, you can watch new TV and cable stuff through them, and that's how they got started. But like I said, with Criterion and Seinfeld, now
Yeah,
IFC,
and everyone else is
they're
getting their own service. It's like
yeah.
that ship was. It was clear a while ago they were not going to last that long doing that.
More streaming. This is kind of big. This could have been a headline. House of Cards has been renewed for a fifth season already, even though the fourth one hasn't started. That's later in March. More importantly, their showrunner, Bo Willimon, has left. He stated, "It's time for me to move on to other endeavors." That's pretty major. I mean, this is their show that kind of made Netflix a destination for original content, and to have the guy that created the big show, your big moneymaker initially, to leave, I'm not sure if it's going to change anything for them. I mean, the show kind of already hit the skids in the last season anyway.
Maybe
So
that's a
maybe you just
sign
saw
of
it was a
what things
sign
to
of things to
come.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's not a good sign for season 4.
Then again, maybe, like I said, well, if you're involved for over 3 years on one show,
Hmm.
or like 4+ years, because remember, like they were in production before Netflix even picked it up. Um, it's like you said, like he wants to broaden his horizon. He wants to see what else is out
Yeah, this
there.
has been
So it must
since
suck. I mean,
2012 now, right? Or
yeah.
2013 rather. Yeah.
So I mean, if you think about it, showrunners don't stay the entire run of a series. They usually leave after so odd many a years, and if you're Frank Darabont, you get kicked off after like 5 episodes. So I mean, Steve DeKnight, he left Daredevil, and he was a replacement anyway. On top of that, so I don't know. It must be really tough to run a show, and I wish wherever he's going, it'd be cool if he went to HBO. Whatever he does next, I'm sure is gonna be good. It might even be at Netflix. Who knows? But Netflix, lots of Netflix news. They picked up an Indian sex comedy called Braham Naman. This is supposedly like the Hindu American Pie. Instead of fucking a pie, some guy like fucks a fridge in this movie. Um, I'm really excited about this. Who knows when it's going to be on streaming? But this, in addition to that movie I mentioned last week, that the name's escaping me right now, the um, the Iranian horror film, they're definitely trying to stretch their legs and get content for their global market that they're approaching right now. So yeah, I hope this show or not this show. I hope this
Hmm.
movie is good. I don't know if it was on Sundance. I can't remember. I didn't place it in that section, so I doubt it. But yeah, hopefully we get a date on this. That you know how sporadic they are with announcing those kind of
Yeah.
things. It is a month to month thing, so you'll know and we know. Last net. No, I got two more things here actually. Gilmore Girls is officially a go at Netflix.
Yay.
Yay!
Yeah.
I think we already knew that, but yeah, the original cast is there: Alexis Bledel, Lauren Graham, whoever else is on the show.
Hmm.
I have no clue, but yeah, it's official now, whatever that
Yeah.
means. Uh, is that show gonna be any good?
It is
Just think
not
about
for
it.
me. You may as well ask me if that show was ever good. So,
That's fair
yeah.
too. I think I might have seen an episode once.
My
It
mom
was like
used to watch it, so
I was waiting for Smallville and it was on air or something like that. Like that happened with Everwood all the time too in the early days of that show. Uh, so who knows? I mean, I bet you I would like it if I actually took the time to watch it. I'd probably get into it, but then again, it's a 22 episode show. It is, a network
I
program.
think the Family Guy joke of it was dead on of what the show is to me, and that's all I have to say about that.
What's that joke?
That they just all talk so fast to the point where it's incomprehensible.
That's kind of how Dawson's Creek is, and I love that.
Oh,
West Wing
this
2
is
that
more
better.
to this is really fast, but whatever.
Have you ever seen an episode of Dawson's
No,
Creek?
I haven't. I think I've seen part of one, but
I think you'd like it. Maybe. Do you know the synopsis? Do you know the plot
yeah, no,
line?
I know it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Dawson Leary, if he wasn't enough of a geek, how cool is it that the fact that there is a 1 hour drama created by Kevin Williamson, the writer of the Scream
Hmm.
series, about a kid who went on to see a whipped cream bikini who wants to be a filmmaker. Like that's a cool concept. And then in the later seasons, he actually, like PAs on sets and like does a whole bunch of stuff. And then the final season, they go to a No Doubt concert, which is kind of cool too. But yeah, Netflix. After a decade of film adaptation rumors, Hasbro has finally found a home for the Stretch Armstrong adaptation. It's going to be kids programming on Netflix. It's coming in 2017. This sounds like it's going to be horrible, but better than being a theatrical film. That I swear they like there was rumors since like 2005 that was going to be a movie. It still could be. Who knows? They can make a Netflix show into a
Mm.
movie. I believe this is animated. It might be live action and animated. Um, but yeah, it's a Stretch Armstrong show.
Yeah. What do
Have
you
you
want
ever
me to say?
used one of
No,
those?
I've seen the commercials though.
You seen the
Yeah,
commercials?
I
Have
yeah.
you've seen Detroit Rock City, right?
No.
Oh wow, we're doing a Death Cinema for them. I'm gonna write that
All
down
right,
right
you
now.
got it.
That's probably one of my favorite coming of age movies that isn't from the 80s. Let me just sell you on it. It's
I
about a
know what
group
it
of four
is, man. You don't
friends in
have to.
high school
All right.
that do a road trip to Detroit to go to a Kiss concert.
No, I know. I've seen the trailers for it on a VHS tape. I can't remember which one, but I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even like Kiss, but that movie's badass. More streaming news. Film On, the UK's version of Netflix, has acquired Cinema now, which was one of the original digital movie storefronts in the game.
That was the Best Buy
That's
one.
pretty big. Yeah, that was the Best Buy
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
which.
so that was Best Buy's answer to Voodoo. But they existed long before Best Buy got involved, which is crazy.
Mhm.
So whatever library they previously had is gigantic now, and Netflix doesn't really have a foothold in the UK. Like it is Film On, it is Love Film. Like those are the two big ones, and then it's like, well, yeah, Netflix is there too now, I guess. And this is going to be a trend, I think, because the next topic I got right here is that Chinese streaming service. I can't pronounce it. I think it's Kiyi. It's IQIU or IQIYI. Anyway, it's a subsidiary of Baidu, which is like the Chinese Google.
Mhm.
Anyway, they've secured exclusive rights to 20th Century Fox titles, and they already have deals with both Universal and Lionsgate. And so this is going to be basically like the whole Chinese market's first way to see uh, new releases by Fox. So, the next Alien movie, The Martian, which, has Chinese characters in it, all that stuff. Netflix isn't in China. And so when they already have this service, which is run by their own Google, and they have three major networks, is Netflix even going to be able to work there?
Probably not.
I mean, if this is
Yeah.
run by a Chinese company, they're obviously okay with the censorship. They already have that
Mhm.
down. There's no fears like Indonesia has where they're shutting down the service.
If someone else takes up the mantle, then yeah, there's no reason to have Netflix over there.
Well, I mean, for them there is though. I mean, think about it, it's Netflix, and then
Well, yeah, no,
again, it's
no, for
also
Netflix, yeah, but for the country
yeah,
to have it there, no.
maybe. I mean, you got to remember still
Unless
that
it depends on
Netflix.
how much content they put out, though.
Yeah, well, that too, but also like Netflix is still original programming. Like, think about. I'm not sure House of Cards would work in China. I don't know if they'd understand that, but something like Daredevil
Yeah.
or Stretch
Well,
Armstrong
depending on
or
how much violence they have to cut out, too. I mean, keep in mind that's the reason Deadpool is not there is because they don't have an R rating. They try to keep it all family friendly, like it's for everybody that they have there.
yeah,
So
that's what you said in last week. I
Stretch
think it might be
Armstrong
more
could
than
be
that though.
distributed over there, but I don't know if it would air off of Netflix.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would. I wonder if there would be a way. We'll see how they try to get into China. But imagine if they just like entered some kind of merger with this streaming service. Like if it's already the front runner, it's the one that's doing it in the same way that Film On is in the UK. If it's already there, why not just offer your content for on an annual basis to them and they pay you? Think about how much footwork you wouldn't have to do. You wouldn't have to set up a server farm. You wouldn't have to make an IP and market yourself. But then again, they wouldn't want that because they want all the money, not a fraction of it.
Mm,
They're greedy.
yeah.
Those damn Canadians. Take over the world one country at a time, huh? Two last thing. Well, one last thing here actually. Louis C.K. streaming. He launched a new web series in secret. It just happened Saturday morning. It's called Horace and Pete. It co-stars Steve Buscemi and himself. It's being described as a serious version of Cheers. It's available on his website right now for $5. It's just one episode right now. It's the same price as all of his other self-distributed content. Anytime he does a stand-up special, it's on his website, just $5. Um, People have noted that it appears that there's three more episodes of likely for the series, just because of like placeholders on his website in terms of HTML and the way it's like programmed. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of Louis C.K. People don't know he wrote Pootie Tang, which is weird to left just
He
saying that.
directed it too, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, People don't know that. Like, you should have seen the kind of response that I got from black people, and they didn't know, and they probably still don't know that a fat, bald, white dude who loves Cinnabon and jizz wrote that thing. Uh, he also wrote what was the name of that movie? I think I Love My Wife with Chris Rock. That
Yeah.
movie sucks. That movie is so bad. Like a plot device in that movie is that Chris Rock gets a heart attack from taking a Viagra.
If it wasn't
It's
for
the
that movie, you would never have had top five.
That's
Yeah.
true. I really like Top Five, so that's on Amazon right now. Check that out. One of my favorite movies of last year, well, 2 years ago now. Definite great movie. That's like the black version of Before Sunrise. Um, Speaking of which, this wasn't even on the show. Did you hear about
The
the
Obama
the
one, yeah.
first?
Yeah.
Yes. What's the name of that
I
movie?
don't know. And
Does it matter?
honestly,
Can we just call it the Obama Before
I don't
Sunrise?
care.
Oh my
It's kind of
God.
ridiculous that
I
this
do
exists.
care. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
This is if I'm gonna see this movie eventually. I know I'm gonna see it eventually. If it doesn't end, or at some point in the date, if they don't go see Do the Right Thing, I'll be
You
mad.
know what? Too soon, honestly, to tell
No,
this
I've
type of
told you
story.
this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, but I mean, it's yeah.
No, yeah, their first
No, no,
date,
no, no,
the
no,
the
no.
first
Yeah, no,
family's
no, no.
first
You've
date,
told me. I'm just saying for this type
they
of
went
movie,
to see Do the Right Thing, okay? And so if that's not in the movie, it's not an accurate portrayal, and that means it's
just to
fictionalized.
have a basically what's a romance movie about someone who is,
In
current
office.
POTUS.
Yeah.
That just seems too. It just
And
sounds too
FLOTUS,
weird.
mind you.
Yeah,
FLOTUS and POTUS.
it just sounds
Well, I
too
mean,
weird to me.
Primary
Yeah.
Colors, which has Bill Clinton in it, was released during his presidency. W by Oliver Stone was released during
Okay, but that
Bush's
was
presidency.
different, I guess.
That was different, but I'm just saying, like, it's
I
not
think that was more
uncommon
built
for.
like that had an agenda. I think when you get down to it.
Uh, W was actually a
No,
good
no, not
movie.
like not an
If you haven't
obvious
seen
one,
it.
but I do think it clearly had some sort of political motive there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
it
it's
not
an
it was
Oliver
yeah.
Stone movie, so of course it had a political
Yes, I
agenda.
mean
But
this.
it's not.
You
I'm
throw
just saying
before
it's not.
sunrise, like except with
Mhm.
the president in there, just sounds weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. Even W was weird at the time that came out.
W was
Yeah.
weird. I like the part in the movie though where he was like, "Who stole the W keys from the keyboards?" Like, and supposedly that was a true story too. Like some intern did that. He took all the W's off the keyboards in the White House. That's messed up. That's funny though. That's funny. Last stream of news I got here. It's also our segue into TV stuff. It's at the end because no one cares. It's been 2 hours. Of course you don't care. Relativity Television, which has officially relaunched as critical content, they've already landed their first 10 episode order at Crackle. It was one day after they relaunched. This show's called Startup. It stars Martin Freeman and Adam Brody, and it's about a brilliant tech idea that lands on the wrong side of the tracks, making the FBI get involved. It's interesting. It's on Crackle. They don't have much original programming. If you don't know what that is, it's Sony's own ad-free. Well, it's not ad-free, but it's their own free-to-stream content. You can watch movies on there. Joe Dirt 2 was most notable. That was made for Crackle specifically. But they got a lot of Sony stuff on there. Some older stuff like I don't know, probably like Bucky Larson, stuff like that. Like not their best stuff, but like 51st Dates. I've seen that on there. It's a good free alternative to Netflix, and that they kind of push not heavily, but a little bit on their PlayStation branded devices, also on their smart TVs and things like that. So yeah, that's interesting. The fact that Relativity, who just got out of the hole, already has a 10 episode deal with a reputable company. That's good for them. They're kind of small. They're getting back on top, and they're doing it with someone else who kind of hit the skids over the last couple of months in terms of theatrical releases. So yeah, it's cool. But yeah, TV. Oscar So White. It's made a lot of things happen. Last week we talked about Fox rebooting 24 and getting a black or Hispanic lead. They did it. They got Kerry Hawkins, aka Dr. Dre from Straight Outta Compton. He's going to be the star of 24 Legacy. Um, I don't know much about him. I've seen him in one role. I just don't really get badass super agent for the government saving Los Angeles from him. But hey, hopefully he can surprise me.
Yeah.
At least they casted someone non-white, non-Jack I guess.
Well, no, it's
Um,
good to get
if that's a thing
unknowns,
for
like,
you,
or anyone that has something to prove. Then that's
lesser known, sure.
that's what you want, and you hope that the best possible outcome could come out of it is that they will impress
I mean,
us.
yeah, it's definitely a win for
Yeah.
him. Like I said, I don't know much about him, but he was good in Straight Outta
Hmm.
Compton, and so this is definitely going to help his star power. Hopefully, get him something else. I mean, Fox has some pretty successful colored programming. Obviously, they got Empire, which is a huge hit, but then like they had that Grease live special tonight as well. So yeah, whatever they're doing, it might be working. It's Fox; they're different. As much as people hate Fox News, they sure as hell love their original programming. That's interesting. Uh, I know it's different branches, but it's still the same company. It's in the name. Um, this could have been anywhere on the show. This next item, it should have been at the top, but it's not exactly a movie. It could have been a headline, but it's just like rebel rousing. It's not worthy. It's something fun to talk about, so I put it at the end because all this rest of the stuff kind of sucks. UK TV giant Sky has decided to make a 9/11 road trip comedy movie. It's titled Michael, Elizabeth, and Marlon. You can kind of guess what it's about, but I'll tell you anyway. It's this urban legend that Michael Jackson hit the road with Elizabeth Taylor and Marlon
Hmm.
Brando after inviting them to New York shows right after the terrorist attacks. Here's the weird part. If that wasn't weird enough, just that concept,
Hmm.
that plot synopsis, it stars Joseph Fiennes as Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
Stockard Channing as Elizabeth Taylor, and Brian Cox as Marlon Brando. The final of which I think he's perfectly
Hmm.
cast. Like they definitely look alike, especially in his later days. But yeah, the internet's pretty mad that white actor, aka Shakespeare from Shakespeare in Love, is playing Michael Jackson. They already filmed this thing.
Yeah.
It's already wrapped.
Hmm.
It's gonna, and we're probably never gonna see it because it was made for a TV station in the UK. Like maybe it'll be on streaming. Who knows? That's why it's in the TV section at the end of the show. What's your reaction to this? Like I don't even know what to think because I'm not
I
offended.
no, I'm not, but I am not the person to be offended. And at the same time, Michael Jackson at that point in time, like
Right.
it's like okay, yeah, that's understandable, but I don't know. I feel like somehow that seems like I don't know. I just don't know because I feel like whatever I'm going to say is going to offend somebody, and I don't even have a firm grasp of what to really think of this. I feel like
Hey, we don't got enough
I feel like
listeners this late in the
mostly,
show to offend.
it seems without seeing the performance itself, the idea itself, I think seems harmless.
Right? It
Honestly,
seems like a real fun road
I
movie.
think yeah. I mean, but I mean, just as far as casting, like unless just given Michael Jackson's skin condition, it's like okay, yeah, I could see that, but unless it's a performance that straight up like is lampooning him in some way, then that's where it would be like, yeah, no, that's too
Yeah, I
soon.
don't. I doubt that's what they're going
I
for,
think yeah,
especially
you
if they
gotta
attract that star level. I mean, like they're not the three best known celebrities out there, but they are names. Like they're B list, solid B
yeah, no, it's
list.
just as long as it does as it services th- like not just his but like their legacy, then I think it's fine. I don't
Did
know, just given all the the Oscars so white thing controversy and all that, it seems like this is like bound to be like just a big topic, right? Like where people are just gonna automatically kind of criticize it. It's a tough
what's
thing though.
funny
Like yeah.
is like if they did in fact cast a black actor,
Hmm.
they would have to cast a light skinned one, right?
Well, and then
And
just do whiteface at this.
or some like it's like either they just cast a black actor and they put a whole bunch of makeup to make him look the part, or they cast a light skin
Hmm.
and it's the same deal. But then again, like I'm pretty sure even just finesse finds in this
Yeah.
role is wearing a hat, a wig, and glasses. I'm pretty sure it's not just him sitting there like acting
I don't know how you
normal.
tackle it because like even if it was an African American actor doing whiteface, like
It's still offensive.
it's in some way, but then I don't know because to be honest, like this is just me. Even though Michael Jackson's skin lightened up, there is still something off-putting, like an uncanny valley sort of thing of like, yeah, that's not that's not like the white that you're necessarily accustomed to. Or maybe I mean, didn't he get Botox as well, or some
Who
stuff.
knows?
I don't know, but
There's so much said about him. There's so many rumors. There's so many myths. It's hard to tell. Like, because I remember as a kid, like people would be like, "Oh yeah, he bleached his skin," and then
yeah.
you grow up and you realize, like, no, he had like a pigment
And it was
disorder where he
it was
just lost
basically the
pigment
thing that he
over
was
time.
saying the whole time, and it wasn't until he died that people were like, "Oh, okay, I guess so." Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But then again, like the way he died, like that's still a
Hmm.
conspiracy. Like when you have a figure that big, it's not stories anymore. It's legends. It's like it's one of those things. Like where were you the first time you heard Thriller? I know where I was. I was probably scene 13 going on 30. Fuck yeah,
I've
best dance scene ever.
well, I mean,
Um,
just the thing is, as long as the material itself and the treatment of it and the depiction is not in any way harmful to the image, I don't see why this should be that big a deal when all is said and done.
because of rabble rousing, like I said, people are upset that a famous black celebrity is being cast as a white
Hmm.
man, and that
Yeah, but
alone is giving them reason to be
yeah,
mad.
no,
And it
it
is
gives
a
them
fair
like the news
reason,
itself
but
gives them a fair reason, but I think at the end of the day, really, like you gotta. There's other we do have a problem with this industry that we should be talking
well, it's
about and
not our
paying
industry;
attention to.
it's the UK
Yeah, but
TV
I mean, at
industry,
this,
to be
but then when
specific.
you get down to like, well, just entertainment in general. But at the end of this, it's just if the final product is not hurting anybody, then I think that's really that's the most you can hope for. If
Hopefully.
it turns out to like be completely insulting, because I'm sure clips are going to emerge on YouTube, and we'll just
Oh,
yeah,
sure. I'm sure there's gonna be. I'm sure there's gonna be a trailer by the end of this
yeah,
month.
and if it just if it
Sure of it.
if it's well, we'll see, you know. But yeah, if it's offensive, then yeah, we'll see.
Talking about a little bit offensive, just joking. Zoolander is gonna be moving to TV. Ben Stiller's directing an adaptation of super sad true love story for Showtime. He's been involved in the process of making this for a screenwriting for a couple of years
Hmm.
now. The novel is deep in the neuroses of the millennial experience, or existence rather. So it's kind of a continuation of what he did on While We're Young with Noah Baumbach. Um, this could be good. I don't know. It's Showtime, so they've been taking a lot of risks lately. I just caught up on the first three episodes of Shameless. I guess I'll be talking about that on Dollar Reviews in a couple of days. Um, but yeah, I mean, he hasn't directed anything in a while. What was the last time? The Walter
Hmm.
Mitty?
Well, and
Yeah.
Zoolander
So,
too.
oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
directing that. Well, that's not out yet.
it will be. Yeah.
So it will be. Yeah. I like him as a director. He even with Cable Guy, he definitely has a way with comedy and even dramatic stuff. So we'll see what this is like. I think he might be directing the entire run, which is the new hot thing in TV. Sam Esmail is doing that with Bad Roma. Cary Fukunaga did that for the first season of True Detective. It's like the new version of show running, kind of. And so with a name like that, and obviously Woody Allen's doing this for Amazon as well, it's kind of the given nature of a thing. And David Lynch or Twin Peaks for the matter too.
Hmm.
Um, I got a couple CW things here. Either of these could have been way higher in the show. We'll start with the comic one. They've ordered Riverdale to series. If you don't remember this from months and months ago, it's an adaptation of Archie and the Archie comics for the big screen. It's going to be a modern take on it of the popular comic that's been around for almost 75 years now. Very impressive. I've actually read some Archie comics. I read Afterlife with Archie around Halloween, which is really interesting. Like Archie is kind of known for a lot of things: Jughead Jones, Josie and the Pussycats, Casper the Ghost, and Wendy. Fucking even Sabrina the Teenage Cat or Teenage Witch rather. Like it's all the same universe. So who knows what they're gonna do there? It is a CW, so that means in addition to Riverdale, they're also gonna have iZombie, Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, Arrow, and I'm sure they got something else working up over there. They got a lot of program. They know their angle. So if this has been pushed past a pilot, if they got a series order, I'm pretty sure they're confident in the material, and I want to see it. Um, have you seen the Josie and Pussycats movie?
No, 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 no.
No, you should see that too. Let me write that
Oh,
down.
come on.
It's a shame, Josie and the Pussycats.
All right, if you want to get back for the holiday special, I'll take that. But
No, that movie's actually
yeah,
good,
you're the
man.
only person that's ever said that, ever.
That's not true.
It's true in my world.
That's not true. Okay, you got a small world. That movie's so cool. Fred Durst is. No, wait, no, he's not. What's his name? Carson Daly is in it in a cameo, and Tara Reid is the drummer of the band, and they were in a relationship at the time of filming, so that alone makes it a must-watch. No, but yeah, Rosario Dawson's
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
Who's Josie? It's oh, what's her name from She's All That? The
I
star from She's
don't
All That.
care, dude.
I care. Uh, Whatever. Don't help me. You don't even know. It's my movie. What's that movie? Not Evan Rachel Wood. Rachel doesn't matter. Anyway, CW. They're hoping that they found their answer to esports. They have programming coming up in partnership with Machinima. They're going to be hosting their third season of Chasing the Cup on CW Seed,
Hmm.
which is the CW's own ad-free streaming platform. And they have things like anime on there, which is Vixen, which is a tie-in for the Arrowverse. But yeah, this docuseries is focused on Mortal Kombat X tournament and can culminate with a 1 hour primetime finale of the championship on February 15th. So this is like going to happen right now. What's interesting here isn't just necessarily that, esports has been making a big thing happen right now. ESPN's involved, Activision bought MLG. We've been covering this for the last couple of months or so. But Time Warner has majority stake not only in the CW but also Machinima, and they own Warner Brothers Interactive, which makes and produces Mortal Kombat X. So this is like a trifecta of just promoting your own product, which is kind of cool. It's pretty ballsy. Um, so yeah, it's pretty smart. Like if you think about it, they're not the only one that can do this. Disney can do it as well. They have their own means. So if this works for them, if they can find a foothold for this, it could be the future of internal rebranding because I don't know. Well, it's exciting. We'll see. Final thing on the show. Talked about this a while ago. Final TV thing. Final thing. Period. Kevin Williamson's time travel adaptation, Time After Time, has been ordered to a pilot at ABC. Really excited about this. It's about H.G. Wells' adventures with his time machine. This was a novel, I believe, in the 60s. It was adopted, I think, in the mid 70s into a movie. And in that film, and I'm guessing also in the show, it's like H.G. Wells uses his time machine and he clashes with Jack the Ripper. So it sounds really cool. It's Kevin Williamson. He does gritty stuff, but obviously, as I said earlier in the show, he also did Scream and Dawson's Creek. Fan of him, fan of his work, fan of what he's going to do there. I just hope ABC doesn't make it Disney-fied and have another like Once Upon a Time type thing. So yeah, thanks for listening to our show. There's a lot of news, a lot of me, not enough Steve. I got to work on that.
Well,
Thanks for
there's
listening. You
nothing
can
wrong
drop
with
us a
you. It's
line.
just it's really, really late.
I'm just saying.
I'm just looking at the time running, and I'm
Uh,
just like, shit. I gotta. Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna stay up all
Yep.
night. So yeah, thanks for listening. You can drop us a line on Twitter at Dollar Reviews, Facebook as well. Don't be shy. Like us. Send us some emails. Brian at dollarviews.net. You can also send one to Steve at dollarviews.net. You can find us all over the place, like I said at the top of the show. Dollarviews.net is the easiest way. In addition to that, youtube.com/dollar review. No S at the end of that. TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, anything you can think of. And if you've thought of it and we haven't, like I said, let us know. Leave us a comment anywhere on the internet. Tweets are the easiest way. Anything you can do. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in a couple of days. Have a good one.